What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining us right here on Tuesday night. It is Tuesday Night Titans, episode 151 for your Tuesday, June 16th, 2026. I'm your host, JD from New York, as always, joined by the self-proclaimed king of New York, not Danhausen, Solomonster. What's going on, brother?
No, I do believe the king of New York is one Jalen Brunson, who will never pay for another meal in this city for the rest of his life.
Well, neither will Danhausen.
Yeah, neither will Danhausen. Yeah. Well, will they recognize him though without the face paint on? He could walk around without the face paint, but no one's gonna know who he is.
No, I don't think so. No. Yeah. Did you hear he wants a one-day contract because he wants to retire as a world champion?
I did. First of all, WFAN, they extended the invitation for him to be their guest at the parade on Thursday. So I don't know if he's going to accept that invitation or if WWE is going to be doing something with him. But he'll be there. I mean, for sure. I mean, he should get his own float in the parade, I think.
Who won the NBA Finals, man? What was it, WWE or the New York Knicks? I can't tell anymore.
Well, I mean, if you could tell, but I'm kind of wearing the colors here.
Listen, man, don't gloat that you took 2 out of 3 this weekend, okay? You don't need to gloat.
I'm wearing the colors here. These are Knicks colors. Come on, today they're Knicks colors.
All right, sure.
They're not Mets colors.
All
Knicks
right.
colors.
All right, I believe you. We got a lot to get into tonight. We have a loaded show for you, believe it or not, in this down period of June, man. This may be the slowest June that I've seen in quite a while, but we got some juicy controversy with the King of the Ring, man. Is it going to be King Oba or is it going to be King YEET? That's the question. Now, I sat here for a good, I would say, half an hour. I came up with every logical determination, every logical route on how we get to SummerSlam, every outcome that is feasible coming out of this King of the Ring tournament. And Jason is going to yay or nay every one of them until we get to the one that sounds the best. That's the plan. So we're going to go over that, and I'm assuming everybody wants King Oba, but how do we get there? I don't know. Will CM Punk be King of the Ring? Are you still on that? Are you still thinking that we get an outsider in the King of the Ring tournament? That was
the scenario that I pitched. I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with that. It might be the pie in the sky theory, but I like that theory.
All right. We'll talk about CM Punk in regards to the King of the Ring. Will he be there? Will he not be there? There is Punk news, rumors that circulated thanks to a troll, an egg, on social media who had good details, apparently, according to himself and only himself, about why CM Punk is not with the WWE right now.
The always reliable egg on X.
Those damn eggs, man. I don't know what you're going to do with those eggs.
I could tell you what you could do with those eggs.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to know. So we'll talk about that. Apparently, Punk has been under scrutiny as well because apparently people think he's taking steroids. Now, we don't know if Punk is going to come back looking like Lou Ferrigno or he's going to come back looking like Phil Brooks after visiting a Wicker Park coffee shop. I don't know. So we'll talk about that. We have some comments based on that as well. Liv Morgan and her Stalker situation. We got an update on that. We'll go over all of the Friday night stuff from SmackDown. Sami Zayn is the special guest referee for Gunther and Cody on Friday night in Kansas City, which we will not be here for. Damn you, Cody. I think you're doing it on purpose right now. So we'll talk about that. And Tessa Blanchard asked for her release from TNA, and she was granted her release. Where is she going, and why did she want to walk? We'll talk about that as well right here on TNT. You know, the most exciting news, Jason, out of everything this week is Amazing Red returning to TNA. What'd you think of that one?
I think it's actually really cool. When you consider the history that he has in that company, I mean, he was really the innovator of the X Division. So I think at an event like Slammiversary, where, I mean, Slammiversary has been a TNA event going back, I think, almost to the very beginning. It's kind of appropriate that if he's going to come home, and this will be his first TNA match in 15 years.
That is fucking crazy.
So that is just crazy to think about. But I think it's super cool. And I think a lot of people are going to realize what you and I have realized for a while now when it comes to the Amazing Red, all these questions of, I didn't know he was still wrestling and all this other stuff. Yeah, well, Wait until they see him in action. I think that he's gonna blow a lot of minds on that show.
Well, all those people that are in the camp of, well, I didn't think Red was still wrestling, man. He's 44 years old. Don't get me wrong. He is unbelievable at what he does, but age is nothing but a number, and he is legitimately the living embodiment of that statement. He wrestles like he's 24, and he's going to go out there and he's going to wow you guys. And like Jason said, he's been putting on matches that you would not believe on the independent circuit and House of Glory. So we'll see him this Friday. We have HOG Inferno. Jason and I will be in Chicago on Friday, and I get in on Thursday, a day earlier. I like visiting the coffee shops in Chicago. They got good coffee out there. But we got the show on Friday, a loaded card. Red is a part of the show. He is wrestling Ricky Sosa. And Jason, I think it was this past week, we just announced a major world championship match, one that I'm looking forward to because the last time we brought this man in, I was not there. So I'm excited to actually get to call another one of his matches.
Yeah, Nick Nemeth, who may well be the next TNA World Heavyweight Champion, is coming in to challenge Charles Mason for the HOG World Championship. So that's a big one right there. And I think he would love it if he could bring some gold into Slammiversary and then win another world title. He could be the new belt collector. So, yeah, we added that one. That's going to be a big one. Shotzi is putting her women's title on the line against Steph DeLander. These two women do not like each other, so that'll be very interesting to see. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Mustafa Ali will be there. There's actually a TNA International title match on the show. He's defending against Rich Swann. And a bunch of other cool matches. Very limited tickets are available. So HOGwrestling.net if you want to try to get into the building. If not, you and I will be calling the action on Triller TV. That's where you can find us on Friday night. We will not be SmackDown bound this week.
No, we'll be keeping tabs. Last time Cody had a championship match, we had the iPad, iPhone open to SmackDown on mute. So we'll probably be doing the same thing. But join us on Friday. If you guys are going to be in the building, come say what's up. If not, like Jason said, Triller TV Plus is the best way to watch what we're doing at House of Glory. Follow us on social media. You guys know where to find me, Jason. Everything you need for him is linked down below. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up as well. Every little bit helps us out. Thumbs up, comment. Great way to support the show. Super chats are open. I just seen Tone VC come in with a $50 mini bomb. Thank you, Tone. We'll get to you guys at the end of the show. All the $100 bombs are read on the spot during the show. So if you guys want to be extra energetic and extra generous tonight, you can expect that. And just as a side note, I have regularly, once again, begun putting timestamps in the video because I know this is the longest stream that we both do all week. I don't really plan for it that way. It just happens. But if you guys want timestamps, they've been in the last two TNTs. They'll be in this one as soon as it's over. So if you guys want to navigate at your heart's content and go to the topics that you want to talk about and skip over the AW topics, because that's exactly what I hear every single week. Man, I don't want to listen to AEW, man. Just get to the WWE stuff. So you guys can do that at your own discourse. Please go and check that out. It will be down in the description below. All right, my friend, what do you want to start with?
Well, I was actually going to ask you if you had heard about this story that in the UK, coming up at the beginning of the new year, there is a new social media ban going into effect. Did you hear about this?
I have not, no.
There is a new social media ban going into effect for children 16 and under. In the UK, they're modeling it after a similar ban that Australia put into effect last year to, I think, varying results. But in this case, the idea is that kids of a certain age are going to be banned from using X, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and I think a few other, maybe Snapchat, a few other platforms. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they intend to implement this, because this just sounds, I mean, it sounds like a nice idea in their mind, I think, but I don't know that in execution it's going to work out quite the way they expect it to work out, especially in the age of VPNs and other ways to get around certain things. But, you know, like I'm sure on your content as well as mine, it's not the dominant sort of demographic. But I think both of us do have people that are teenagers,
sure,
you know, who watch our content. So it'll be interesting to see if they live in that part of the world, what impact, if any, that this will have on them and their viewership.
I know I've had a nice chunk of people reach out to me throughout the years saying, and I know you got the same thing, man, I've been watching you since the early days of high school, and now I'm 26, 27 years old, and I'm still listening to you guys. I mean, that's great. I love those. I love those comments.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what that's going to mean for those people, but hopefully it doesn't go into effect. I listen. Social media, that should be up to the parents' discretion. I know a lot of my friends are parents, and they willingly give their children an iPad at a certain age. Some people don't give a shit. They just give the iPad to the kid because they just want the kid to shut up, and that's the best way to do it. To put on some Sesame Street and just leave them to their own, on the iPad.
But is it still Sesame Street? I thought it was. What was the popular one now?
Paw Patrol, Sesame Street, yeah. There was I don't know what else there is, but you go through the phases. You got your Frozens, and Bat Wheels is a new one.
Did you go through your Frozen phase?
No, I didn't, bro. I don't. All I know is
okay. You can share. Share with the Clash.
All
baby.
I know is Elsa, bro. That's all I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think we just learned a lot about JD as far as his secret Frozen fandom.
Bluey. Listen,
Bluey.
man,
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, those things aren't for me. Barbie. You got all the usual shows. By the way, before we start, did you see Obsession is now not the #1 ranked horror movie of the entire year?
Of this year?
Percentage wise, yes. Rating wise, not all time.
So would it be Backrooms?
No, it's called this. The fuck was it called? Leviticus is what it's called.
I've not heard of that. No,
you got to look it up.
I'm going to bet that Leviticus though did not make as much money as Obsession.
No, it's an Australian flick, so you can only see it in Australia right now.
All right, now I've not heard of Leviticus before, so I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, look it up. If you're a fan of horror, I think you'll like that one.
It's interesting though. Obsession, again, it's been out now like 5 weeks, and last week it actually went back up to #2 at the box office. It like raked in another 20 million. Masters of the Universe fell like 75% in its second weekend. It makes me sad, but it is tracking to be the biggest flop of the year so far.
The Obsession team should really owe you some back pay for this. You've been doing a lot of self-promotional work for them.
There were a lot of people that tweeted me and said, look, I wasn't going to see it, but I talked about it so much they went and saw it. And not one person has regretted that decision, I will point out to you. Now, I know you still haven't seen it.
I'm going to wait for it to reach the home, for sure.
It's one of those movies that you got to really, it's better if you get like the full theater experience.
Well, at this rate, I'll be watching He-Man next week in the comfort of my own home, and Obsession's still going to be in the movie.
Watching it by the end of this week. At this rate. It's terrible.
I don't know, man. All right, man, let's get to the wrestling news. As always, we leave it to Jason to guide us on Tuesday night. What do you want to talk about?
Why don't we talk about this crazy case of Liv Morgan's stalker? Because it's interesting. We've had quite a few stories in recent history about the talents, especially the female talents, that have been dealing with a lot of really kind of wild, disturbing stuff. Even Rhea Ripley the other day talked about some fan got her phone number and texted her asking her if they could get SmackDown tickets.
How? I don't know, but
I mean, but Liv Morgan, in this case, she's had a stalker for a few years now, and he showed up at her house at one point last year. She wasn't home, but he actually showed up at her house, was ringing the bell or knocking on the door, whatever, trying to get in. I think she had like a pellet gun or some sort of gun on her porch, and he picked it up and he was trying to get into the house. He just wanted to check in on her because in his mind, he thought that she was his girlfriend. And there was another incident where he showed up at the performance center. She was there for an NXT taping. He showed up at the PC, and I guess the security who worked there recognized him. So they called the cops, and that's how he got arrested. And the guy's whacked out. Clearly he has, severe mental health issues. I mean, there was a story in the story this week, about the whole situation and the developments there. I mentioned the fact that, he's been diagnosed with a whole bunch of different things just in the time that he's been in custody. He hears the voice of God in his head, and even while he's been locked up, he still hears the voice of God. He said he hadn't been to the doctor in 20 years, which is pretty fucking clear. But it's a pretty scary thing, and I know there was a big update on his case the other day.
Yeah, well, Liv Morgan's lucky she wasn't home. Otherwise, this would have gone from a court filing to a Dark Side of the Ring episode very, very quickly. So I'm glad that this is taken care of. WWE's got to do something serious about this, not only with Liv Morgan, but for everybody. So the federal case involving Sean Shan, The Canadian man accused of stalking Liv Morgan is now over, with Chan being found not guilty by reason of insanity. Chan has been charged with interstate domestic violence, which carried a possible sentence up to 5 years in prison. He waived his right to a jury trial, and the case was decided by Judge Mary S. Shriven in the federal court in Florida. The ruling came after two separate psychologists determined that Chan was unable to understand the wrongfulness of his actions because of the severity of his mental illness. He was diagnosed with delusional disorder while in custody. Now, according to the court records, Chan believed Liv Morgan was his girlfriend and also believed he had connections to people in pro wrestling, including ideas and storylines he felt he was owed credit for. The case dates back to May 31, 2025, when Chan traveled from Scarborough, Ontario, to Liv Morgan's home in Florida. Surveillance footage shows him searching for a key, trying to enter the house, and staying on the property for more than 2 hours while Liv was not home, thank God. After also leaving a handwritten note calling it a friendly visit, it included his contact information, and at one point, footage showed him picking up an air rifle pellet gun that had been left on the porch and trying to get into the front door while holding it. A few days later, Chan showed up at the WWE Performance Center, like Jason just alluded to, while Liv Morgan was there for an NXT taping, and security recognized him. After the verdict, the judge ruled that Chan would be released into the custody of ICE. Since he is a Canadian resident, the expectation is that deportation proceedings will follow. The biggest takeaway here is that even though this ended, Jason, with a not guilty by reason of insanity ruling, this was an incredibly dangerous and obviously terrifying situation. We went through this with Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville as well. This was the last WWE incident, on top of what you just mentioned with Rhea Ripley. A man crossed an international border, went to a wrestler's private home, tried to get inside, stayed there for hours, and then later showed up at her workplace. The fandom in pro wrestling, bro. Like, I don't know what you're thinking, man. To me, from just what we see verbally online, it's just gotten completely out of hand, and it's gotten much worse than it was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, again, and this is one of the extreme cases where, I mean, this goes beyond all of that. I mean, clearly this guy has some mental health issues that have gone undiagnosed, and he's just not in the right frame of mind. He should not be roaming free. So, you know, the fact that they're going to deport him, I don't know if they're going to deport him because he originally he comes from Hong Kong, but I know he's lived in Canada for many, many years, I think since he was a kid. So I don't know if they would be deporting him back to Canada or if they would be deporting him to Hong Kong. I'm not sure. But either way, as long as he's far away from this woman, the sooner the better, because I'm sure she's got to be relieved about all this. But nobody wants to see this go a different way, which it easily could. And no one wants that to happen. So hopefully that's the end of it. Hopefully he'll get whatever help he needs and he'll just be kept the hell away from her. She won't have to worry about that anymore. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned like the Sonya Deville thing. I mean, that was 6 years ago already. But that one right there could have been, like you said, a Dark Side of the Ring episode. If you remember that one, they were home. Like it was her and Mandy Rose. They were home. And this guy showed up. He had a knife. He had zip ties. He had duct tape. He had a whole kidnapping plot. I mean, that's about as bad as it gets.
Yeah.
And we don't need to see a repeat of that with any of this. We just had WrestleMania in Vegas, and it wasn't just the women, but like all of the security issues. I mean, CM Punk, he basically went off on two different people, I think, in two different fan incidents. But you had a whole bunch of wrestlers like Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, and the women who were being swarmed, you know, at the hotel, at the casino there by all these fans. And it was just a really awful security situation. So when they plan those events even, I mean, forget this stuff where people show up at their homes. Like even just some of these events, they just have to do a better job of protecting their talent. I mean, that should just be mandatory.
Well, especially like I mentioned, this parasocial fandom that these fans feel like they're owed something from these performers, and you know they're closer to them now than ever before in pro wrestling. You have access via Instagram and TikTok and X, YouTube. Yeah. WWE has to know this, and they have to step in. And when situations like that MGM Grand Las Vegas situation come up, they need to go all out to protect their talent, mainly the women. You don't really hear about any of this from the men's side. They got to protect everybody, but it's more so on the women's side that they have to step in and really bump up the security, because this is ridiculous. Something's gonna happen one of these years where it's gonna be all on WWE, and a bad situation is gonna happen. And I pray to God that it doesn't happen or get that bad. But this is thankfully coming to an end here for Liv Morgan. And this guy is going to be where he needs to be, away from normal people. Let's stick with some of the minor news stories here. We have a story coming out from The Observer. And this is coming from Brian Alvarez. WWE reportedly facing significant visa issues, which now makes sense because I think you and I, Jason, have both been asking where the fuck is Ilja Dragunov? Where's Joe Hendry? We haven't seen him in a few weeks. Apparently, the details are scarce, and Brian Alvarez says that WWE is dealing with visa problems of its own, significant visa issues. So it is not known which WWE talent are affected or what the issues mean for the roster going forward, only that the situation has been described as significant. Visa problems have repeatedly kept foreign talent on the shelf across the industry for the past few years, and both companies, WWE and AEW, are feeling the effects of this right now. The report follows earlier signs that visa issues had complicated matters at a WWE-owned AAA show. The location for Night 1 of AAA Triple Mania 34 was initially left unannounced amidst major visa issue concerns affecting Lucha Libre AAA worldwide. Though the companies have since confirmed the show will take place in Las Vegas Friday, September 11th. Night 2 follows in Mexico City on September 13th. Like I said, WWE's not alone, though. AEW's been navigating its own visa issue situation. Commander and Beast Mortos, who we have not seen on TV over there, currently unable to compete in the United States. Both have been kept busy in CMLL, though, with Mortos and Sammy Guevara holding the ROH World Tag Team Championships. Tony Khan indicated that the titles would be defended south of the border, which is what happened on June 12th when Sammy and Beast Mortos retained at a recent CMLL event at Arena Mexico. I guess we know where Dragunov and Stephanie Vaquer possibly as well, Jason, and Joe Hendry might be, because we haven't seen any one of those talents across WWE TV.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know which ones it apply. It may not apply to all of them, maybe some of them. Stephanie's been out hurt. Supposedly she was, I think, already cleared, and it just seemed like they were waiting to reintroduce her. But, yeah, look, if let's say she is lumped in there, and there's no sign of when this may get resolved, you know, you get to a point, like Liv Morgan, we've talked about this run that she's had. This has been just an awful, awful title run so far since WrestleMania, because they've been waiting for Stephanie to come back. So they haven't really come up with another idea for Liv. Liv has basically just been like background noise on Monday night. She's been the world champion since, what, it was night 1 or night 2 of WrestleMania?
Night 1.
All right, so April 19th. We're coming up on June 19th this week. And what a run she's had so far. My goodness.
How many title defenses is that?
Has she had one?
Is it a goose egg? 0?
I believe it is. I think she's got a ways to go, I think, before she gets to Jade Cargill numbers, but she's getting very close.
She's about, I would say she's about 30 days or so, 35 days or so away.
She may get there. So I don't know if Stephanie is impacted. The Joe Hendry one would make sense if he is affected by this, because that one, I have no other explanation for it. I mean, none. I understand, like, he was singing songs about Logan Paul and then Logan got hurt. And I mean, now he came back last night. But what other explanation could there be for why Joe Hendry has just dropped off the face of the earth? So I'm actually hoping that he's lumped into all this, so we at least have some sense of, okay, well, that makes sense, because otherwise I ain't got an explanation for you on him. And then Dragunov, the same thing. But Dragunov has been popping up at those dungeon sessions at Natty and TJ school down in Florida. So he's around, but is he not able to work because he's affected by this? Maybe. We don't know. I mean, again, there were no names in the report. It was very, very vague.
Yeah.
So we don't have any real details yet. But as time goes on, if these people don't, start popping up, then you can kind of put 2 and 2 together on that. But it's frustrating because there's no set time for when these things are going to get resolved. No. You just don't know. And if it doesn't get resolved, you can't do anything with them. So they're just on ice until this is figured out.
I guess Liv Morgan's new catchphrase, the greatest women's world champion of all time, is going to go into early retirement, I guess, huh?
Well, not necessarily, because she may end up with the greatest women's world title run of all time, where she gets to hold on to her championship without defending it a single time, which would be quite the accomplishment if she could pull that off. It's crazy, dude. Like, we're literally heading into July soon enough. We're getting closer to SummerSlam, And this woman has not been given anything to do since winning the championship at WrestleMania, except being in the the Queen of the Ring. Maybe that's why they put her in the Queen of the Ring, because they had nothing else for her to do. It's like, we got to do something with her, so we'll put her in Queen of the Ring.
Imagine she wins Queen of the Ring as the world champion.
Yeah, I don't expect that to be the case.
I hope you are correct. Yes, I know it's ridiculous.
Come on now. Now you're talking crazy.
Knowing this creative team, I'm not surprised, but that's the latest there from WWE and Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer. We'll see what happens with Dragunov. Hopefully, I mean, listen, if he is ready to go and they are not using him, I would be more concerned about that. That's just ridiculous. Tessa Blanchard. She got her release from TNA. This is according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select. She has opted to leave the company. Sources claim to Fightful that Tessa asked for her release from the company and secured it. Now, they did not hear of a reason for the departure, but one source speculated that CMLL wanted her to decide between the two companies. We're told that her status with CMLL has not changed. Tessa returned to TNA in December of 2024. She's a former world and knockouts champion within the company. We reached out to TNA, says Fightful, and other sources within the company who did not immediately respond to our request for confirmation. We'll let you know if anything changes. Now, I put out a tweet, Jason. I believe I retweeted Wrestle Purists, who aggregated from Fightful. I don't know how you feel about this. It's probably more logical for her to go back to Mexico. I believe she does live in Mexico with her fiance. Listen, I know she has a very, very, up in the air past. And I know a lot of people are going to look at her a certain way, and some people don't care about what she may or may not have done in the past. But all I hope for is that 2026 Tessa has very much learned the errors of her way. And I hope that she has learned a very, very valuable lesson. And I hope she's a better person now than she was several years ago. She is way too good to be just kind of fucking around in CMLL. She's way too good to be not used as a major proponent in that women's division on TNA television. And I think at one point she said that she doesn't want to go to WWE, but money talks, and one person in wrestling says something and then does something completely different. Is it time that we see Tessa with one of the two major companies, or is that ship sailed?
No, I mean, you can't say that ship has sailed, for sure, 100%. I think that ship has mostly sailed, because there's a lot of considerations here. Number one, you can't ignore the baggage that she brings, and again, she brought it on herself. So it's not a situation where she was screwed or anything like that. Look, there are consequences to your actions and to your behaviors. Some things will follow you around for your career. Sometimes they don't, and you're the redemption arc. I don't see that happening with Tessa. I would be very surprised if WWE wanted to bring her in, because look, she goes out there and the crowd starts chanting stuff. That's something WWE doesn't want. That's number one, okay? No. And that's number one. Number two, she has heat with a lot of different people. And some of those people work in the women's locker room in WWE. And so is it worth upsetting the apple cart to bring in somebody who there may be women on the roster right now who don't want to work with her, or they have an issue, with her coming in? So you got to consider that as well. So I don't see it happening. I don't think AEW wants anything to do with her. So I'm not even sure that's a real option. But, you say CMLL. CMLL is still one of the biggest companies in the world. I understand that if you want to think of it in terms of creating this massive global superstar, that's, what WWE is very good at. And she would probably be that, right? In a different timeline, she could have been that in the women's division there. CMLL, though, is still one of the biggest companies in the world. The business they're doing right now, that company is on fire. It's not like her being in CMLL is some sort of massive downgrade. To be perfectly honest with you, compared to what she was doing or not doing in TNA, if the option was given to her, well, you got to pick one over the other, she made the right choice.
Yes.
Now, TNA brought her back in 2024. I can't think of a single thing, real thing they've done with her since she came back. It's almost like, okay, we'll bring her back. We want to bring her back, but we don't want to push her too hard because there's still a lot of baggage there. Well, then why'd you bring her back? That's what I never understood.
Well, remember the way they brought her back, it was like sneaking a fucking like a villain into the fucking bank to rob the bank.
In like a thief in the night. They smuggled her. I made the comment at the time. I said they smuggled her back into the company like contraband. And I'm like, if that's the case, if that's how you're going to go about doing this, and you know you're going to piss a whole lot of people off who work in that locker room there, then why would you even do that?
What a weird fucking company that is, man. What the fuck?
Why even bother? It never made any sense to me. And now, so we sit here 2 years later, they did nothing with her. And evidently, I think she said that she realized she would get paid more anyway working for CMLL, which I don't doubt. So, of course, she's going to go back to CMLL. She's been working there, you know, and she's getting a sizable push there. So all of that makes sense. The only thing I could think of is maybe, you know, at some point, and I don't know loyalty-wise, because when it comes to AAA and CMLL, they do not like each other. And I understand AAA now is under different ownership, but that hasn't gone away. These are two companies. It's like oil and water. Okay, they don't go together. And CMLL has treated her well, but at some point, maybe WWE having a stake in AAA, maybe they would bring her into AAA. Maybe they can make her an offer to bring her into AAA and kind of start her out there. I'm sure Undertaker would love to book her and see how it goes. And you could always bring women in from the main roster to have a big match with her here and there and just kind of use that almost as like a test period. That might be the closest thing. But I don't see what's in it for them to kind of go all in on Tessa Blanchard. Talented as she is, she's super talented. But no, I don't see anything changing anytime soon. She's someone who, if they wanted her, they would have snatched her up by now, especially with this partnership between WWE and TNA. It's very telling that for all the crossover that we've seen, not one time has Tessa Blanchard been involved in any of it. Not once.
Yeah,
so what does that tell you?
Yeah, it says a lot. I quite like the idea of them giving her a test run in AAA if she's open to that. I don't know what she's thinking. I don't know what her contractual situation is with CMLL. So we'll see. You know, I know a lot of people are looking forward to, at one point, getting a Tessa and Charlotte feud with their family lineages, but it may be like Jason says, that door is basically shut. All you got to do is lock the fucking key.
There was a point in time years ago, I said, like, I saw that as a WrestleMania main event one day.
Yeah.
Now, as we were going to get more women's main events at WrestleMania after that first one, like Charlotte and Tessa, the daughters of the Horsemen, it was just this natural sort of evolution. And it's like, I'm sure we're going to get that match one day. And then everything happened. And keep in mind, it's not just the one incident, you know, that people talk about. She's burned some bridges in places, even the stuff with WOW, you know, Women of Wrestling, and she was going to be the face of that whole thing. And then that blew up too. So she's had problems in different places. Is that something, you know, there's baggage there? Is that something WWE really wants to take on? And clearly so far, the answer is no. I don't see that changing.
Well, I don't know what's happening in TNA, but either something is changing in TNA or they are just not doing what they need to do as far as talent.
I mean, you look at the list of people.
I got the list right here.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna read a bunch of names off the top of my head, and then you can fill in the ones that I forget. It's almost like a game. So now we could add Tessa to the list of people, and Tessa again requested her release. They didn't release her so much as she asked for it, and they granted it.
Yes.
So Tessa wanted out, they let her out. Steve Maclin wanted out, they let him out. Danny Luna wanted out, I believe, or did her contract come due?
Danny Luna released after requesting her release. No bad blood with the company.
So she requested it as well. Myla Grace was another one from the Knockouts division. All of the Rascals, and I think their contractual situations were different. I think some had a contract, some may have been working per appearance, but all four of them left.
Yeah. And
Trey Miguel had to go back because of the whole AEW fiasco, but that's all four Rascals were leaving to go to AEW. Jake Doyle, I think I want to say they let his contract expire. He left. He ended up in AEW. I know I'm missing a whole bunch of people. There's a few more people, but it's a long list of talent, and a lot of this happened this year.
Well, Joe Hendry left. Matt Cardona left. The Inspiration left. They just signed Jordan Grace. Tasha Steele's just recently resigned. I saw that today. Mance Warner and Steph DeLander no longer there. They wanted out and they were let go. And
then in that case, I think they were not going to let her. They were not going to clear her to wrestle.
Yeah.
And so he basically said, well, if she goes, I go.
Yeah.
So.
And then the rumors, we talked about this last week, of Mike Santana and Leon Slater. We don't know what their future holds. So Mike Santana's last title defense could theoretically come at the end of the month at Slammiversary against Nick Nemeth. And Leon Slater could also have his last match at Slammiversary. I believe he's in that Ultimate X match that they got planned there. That's a lot of fucking talent, man.
It's a lot of, I mean, you could build a whole roster around that talent. And it comes at a time when people had very high hopes at the beginning of the year when they started that AMC deal. And all this money, supposedly, all these millions of dollars were going to be coming into the company, and maybe they could put that towards, the talent budget and really build things up. And the opposite has happened. So I don't know what's going on. I think a lot of it has to do with they're just not investing enough in the talent. Talent, if you're paying the talent's not going to voluntarily say, hey, I want out. Right? If you're getting paid and you're getting paid a really good wage and they're on AMC, so they have their TV deal, it doesn't make sense that all of these people would be like, yeah, peace out. I want out of my contract. So I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. And you hear stories about people that are signing, but it's signing for like 3 months, 6 months. These are not long-term deals. So they're either not willing or they're not able to make long-term commitments to a lot of these people, right? Some of them, it may be different. For a Nick Nemeth or somebody like that, I'm sure he's got a nice deal. But for a lot of these people, I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, they're not investing enough in the talent to keep them. And if this continues, I mean, we just read all the names. It's only going to get worse.
But I was going to say, what is the reason though? This TNA went from I've never watched. You reviewed TNA at one point in your career.
Yeah,
I never watched. TNA to me was a place where people went after they either got released from WWE, quit WWE. They went to go kind of reinvent themselves and just kind of get their feet wet again. It was a place like that, and it was a respectable place for people to go to that want to do that. Now it almost seems like they're like a company, a rental company for hire for just like 3 to 6 months at a time. Like who's going to want to end up there? Who's going to want to find that place desirable to work?
Well, I think the people who want to go to WWE, and this is the other issue, for all of the benefits of this partnership, it's basically become a developmental league or farm system for WWE. Because anybody who WWE wants, they're going to get. I mean, it's just that simple. There might be a few exceptions. I still feel like Leon Slater, he could very well end up in AEW. But by and large, I think people see, oh, okay, well, if I can go to TNA for a while and I can really kind of pop in there and impress people, that could be my pathway to NXT. And so you have that going on as well. If TNA suddenly, has this person who gets super over and they want to build around this person, you don't think WWE's not going to see that and go, hey, we want them?
Ricky Sosa.
And well, you said it, not me. But within like 6 months or a year, they're not going to say, hey, we want to use this person?
Yeah, of course.
And what's TNA going to go? No.
Carlos Silver say no while he sits in his cuck chair now.
Well, I mean, again, like they want to play nice, with WWE because they see there's benefits to it, but this is the downside of it. And so even if somebody gets super over, you can't really count on the fact like, oh, TNA is going to lock them up for a 3 or 4 year deal and build around this person. I think those days are over. And WWE will basically get to sort of cherry pick whoever it is that they want. But it comes down to getting paid, in my opinion. I think that's probably the biggest issue here because we keep hearing about this. We keep hearing like pay your people and certain talents leave and say that, people are on per appearance deals. And obviously that doesn't apply to the Hardys or someone like that. That's an issue. If you're not going to pay people and they know they can go work even indies or AEW or wherever and they can make a better wage, then why would they stay? If they don't feel like they're being valued, why would they stay? That goes for any job, by the way. If you feel like you're not being valued or you can make more money somewhere else doing what you do, then why the fuck would you stay where you are?
I don't know. I know they locked down Ali. They locked down Nemeth for a little bit. Hardy, as you mentioned. That's fine. That's a core group of guys right there.
Well, yeah, it's a core group, but it's still too small. I mean, you still have to invest in a lot more than just 3, 4, 5 people. One tag team, 3 or 4 big names. That's great, but who are you going to build around them? They need people to work with and younger people, not just like the big names. But you got to make a commitment to them. You got to lock them down for a certain amount of time. Yeah, they just signed Fabian Eichner.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was John Alba who reported it. This part of it may have been reported from somewhere else, but they said that he signed a deal with TNA that will keep him there at least through the summer. Through the summer. Like, dude, it's mid-June. Summer's about to begin. It'll be over in 3 months. Like, did he sign a 90-day contract?
3-month contract.
He signed a 90-day contract. He basically signed a contract for as long as these non-compete periods from these WWE contracts when they release you, right? 90 days. So I'm sorry, but that's not going to be enough. You know, you really have to, unless, again, talents don't want to sign for that long, which could also be the issue in some of these situations where they don't want to commit to TNA for too long because to them, TNA is a stepping stone to something bigger. Like, they don't want to sign a 3-year deal with TNA because within a year, they may want to go work for WWE or AEW. So maybe they're not willing to make the commitment. I don't know what the core issue is, but all of these things, I'm sure, are part of what's going on here.
Money is always the core issue. I'm also hearing from people that it's the creative, and you would think that with all the people that they're not paying, that they would actually get people to write their program so that they can keep the existing talent happy and then get people on board to actually start creating the stars that they have there that they want to use. I don't understand the process. Like, if the show is not being written good and it's not being enjoyed by the fans and they're not making any new fans, then change the creative. Isn't Tommy Dreamer running the creative? And why is he running the creative department?
Well, that's the issue also. Like, you want to be creating new fans, and that was kind of the hope with this AMC deal, is that they might be able to create some new fans out of it. I don't think there's any evidence that that's happened so far. Getting that TV deal was super important because as long as they were stuck on Access TV, they were not going to be able to grow their audience. I've said that for years now. So getting the AMC deal, as somebody who would like to see TNA succeed and grow, despite all of the fucking dumb decisions they've made over the last 20 years, somehow they've survived a lot longer than most other wrestling companies would. And so I want to see them do well, and I want to see that trickle down to the talent. And so I was optimistic, like a lot of people with the AMC stuff. But now we're 6 months in, and I mean, from the outside looking in, I sure don't see any evidence that it's really made any difference.
No,
at all. And that's the key. You want to be able to grow your audience. If TNA, like a strong TNA, and this is the same for AEW or any of these companies, a strong TNA would be good for the wrestling business. And it's just frustrating that whatever it is, whatever the lack of commitment being made from the very top, whatever it is, there's just no evidence of that. And so people are like, well, you know what? I'm going to take my services elsewhere and go work for somebody else. That's an embarrassing list, dude. I mean, that's a lot of names on that list.
Yeah, it's a lot of names. And TNA has Slammiversary coming up at the end of the month, and that's June 28th in Boston. The card looks pretty decent, too, and the Vicious Cycle is going to happen all over again. They'll put on a great show, and hopefully they kind of make amends and fix what they did wrong last year. Mike Santana will defend against Nick Nemeth. Lei Ying Lee, the former Xia Lee, will defend against Zaya Brookside for the TNA Knockouts Championship. System will defend the tag team titles against the Hardys and the Righteous. Triple threat ladder match. Hardys in another ladder match. I mean, they're really creative over there. X Division is getting the Ultimate X Mask. Cedric Alexander, Leon Slater, Frankie Kazarian, and then to be announced. And obviously, we talked about the Amazing Red returning. I'm assuming that he will be returning in that match, being that he is a huge part of that division. Ali will defend the International Championship against to be announced. No opponent yet. He's been doing the Open Challenge gimmick over there. Elegance brand, women's tag team.
Ali and Red would be a hell of a match.
It would. Elegance brand will defend the women's tag team titles against Rosemary and...
Whoa. Robo JD.
What happened? Robo JD.
You sounded robotic there for a second.
Did I? Yeah, it said OBS kind of froze up for a second. Jason's favorite, the Elegance brand, against Rosemary and Allie.
Mr. Elegance.
Yeah. Eddie Edwards versus Moose. Eric Young versus Ricky Sosa. That's the card for the 28th. So if you guys are into TNA, they got a solid lineup there. So hopefully they can do something good on the 28th. CM Punk. Let's get into this ridiculous CM Punk nonsense, and then we'll get into the WWE discussion because there's a lot that we need to dive into there. There were rumors about Mr. CM Punk that all got started on X because of a disgruntled fan, Sicko, who apparently is still upset about what CM Punk may or may not have done with AEW. Fightful has learned that a number of these theories that were floated around on social media about CM Punk being off TV the last 2 months, they went through all of them, and they gave you the truth behind the matter here. The rumors were, and this is from the top, the most egregious of them all, CM Punk and WWE had some sort of issue that led to Punk wanting out of the company. It's crazy. Among the one of the highest paid guys there, Jason, he wants out of his contract.
Well, no, but that's not even the worst of it, dude. Like that was one of the rumors, but the one that I thought was just amazing is that this man is coming out of the WrestleMania main event, and TKO asked him to take a pay cut. He didn't like that very much.
To me, that was the funniest of them all, for sure.
And so he's threatened legal action now against the company because he refused to take this pay cut, which I'm sure is very, very believable. So that was another one. I don't know what it is. Look, I mean, we understand, and we see it even, when there's content to put out. CM Punk is a very polarizing figure, and CM Punk, he gets a lot of eyeballs on his name.
Sure.
Right? And he gets a lot of clicks, and people love talking about it, whether they love him or hate him. So maybe that's why it exploded in the way that it did this week, but it was just like, it was one thing after another. And then, you mentioned the gym stuff earlier, and those photos came out a few weeks ago. But like these gym, and first of all, it was very creepy because it was clearly taken by somebody who was in the gym and he didn't know he was being videoed or photographed. And so I wasn't even sure at first if they were real images. I just was like, oh, that looks like AI, and I hate that I can't even tell sometimes the difference between what is and what isn't. But apparently, I guess it's real. But like people see these images of this person at the gym working out who happens to look a little swole in the image, and they're like, oh my God, look at this. He's a body guy now. Yeah, all of a sudden, 48 years into his life, and how long has he been wrestling for? And now this guy, he's a body guy all of a sudden. And, because he's got some veins popping out of his shoulder over here. Oh, he's on the gas, he's on HGH, he's on TRT. They're throwing all these acronyms out there. He's on LSD, all this shit from like 2 grainy little photos that somebody took of him at the gym. And I said, I can't wait for him to be back on TV. I cannot wait for him to be back on TV and look exactly the same way that he looked the last time we saw him on Monday Night Raw. And then people are going to be like, well, what happened? He must have gotten off the stuff. They'll be like, oh, no, it was real. But like he got off the stuff now. So he's whatever he was taking before, he's not taking it anymore. And now they've created this narrative that never really existed in the first place. But in their mind, they'll probably still believe it.
Well, seeing where this news came from, I wouldn't be surprised if the photo was actually artificially altered, for sure.
It may be.
What's with the grainy photos? Like we live in 2020. Nobody should be having grainy photos. It's like you watch the Bigfoot footage and you see UFO footage. It's like one guy's like filming from 1,000 miles away, and it's like they try to zoom in, and then the camera's like all over the place. Like all of a sudden they forgot how to shoot a fucking phone. It's like why do we have grainy footage? If that's a real footage of CM Punk, why is it like 1997 quality?
Well, I mean, it may have been somebody on their iPhone 8 or something who was taking a photo. Back
do they
then,
even exist? How many of them in the wild?
I'm sure there were a few. If you go on eBay, you probably find some on there. So, but all of these things, and then the coup de grace of the entire thing is this stuff about AEW and how.
Oh wait, you didn't mention the AJ Lee stuff.
What AJ Lee stuff?
Apparently, there was a story that that CM Punk was upset over the creative that WWE gave AJ Lee when she came back. That was another reason.
That.
Yeah. That was in the report. Yeah.
So the bullshit gets even better. I didn't even hear that.
He was so upset that his wife's creative wasn't to his liking that he walked out of the company.
I see.
Oh my God, he didn't hear that one, Chad. That was a good one.
Now let me see. Let's recap here. His wife's creative was that he got the team with his wife, which I'm sure they both loved doing, and they won.
Well,
they won their match.
Where did she come back after 10 years?
But then she came back after the mixed tag at WrestlePalooza, which they won. She came back and she won the Intercontinental Championship, and then got a WrestleMania match with Becky Lynch. So, what exactly, like if he was upset with her creative, what exactly was there to be upset about? Is what I'm wondering.
I don't know. She returned in Chicago. She wrestled WrestlePalooza. She took 3 months off until Survivor Series, wrestled in War Games, took another 2 months off, missed the Rumble, won the IC title in Chicago at Elimination Chamber, got a WrestleMania match out of it, and then went on vacation until the next creative. So
it's terrible, JD.
It's awful, man.
That's horrible. Even LA Knight is like, man, that's really bad. That's really bad creative. So yeah, but what I was going to say is like then somehow AEW gets roped into this, and Fightful had to actually look into this and talk to people in AEW because this rumor was that, well, not that he's necessarily going to go back and wrestle again for AEW, but it's possible that the bridges have not been burned and that there could be some sort of relationship again at some point between CM Punk and AEW. And then they talked to people in the company who, again, said that they've not heard anything about any of this stuff, but that, like, never say never. So now, of course, the story becomes, as soon as you say never, the story is CM Punk could very well end up back at AEW. And it's like, where is this coming from? It's coming from, again, a rando account on social media, and somehow it gains traction, and all of a sudden, fiction becomes fact. And that was the case with CM Punk. That you saw it 5 or 6 different times with this one person alone this week. 5 or 6 made up bullshit. And people, and I think most people, thankfully, see it for what it is. But you know there's a lot of people out there who probably buy into some of this stuff.
Of course.
And so they just kind of run with it. And then you saw, I don't know if you saw Jack Perry when he posted
I was just gonna throw that at you. I know you saw it.
Have you heard of that band before?
No, I have not heard of that band. No.
Okay. I had never heard of them before, but they had an album cover, this band does, of some creature, I guess, torching and setting fire to a bridge, burning a bridge, basically. And so after this story broke about how, well, the bridges haven't been burned, Jack Perry, of all people, goes on his IG stories, and he posts an image of this album cover of a burning bridge. And I said this on my end. I said, and you know damn well that if by chance, at some point, years from now, CM Punk wanted to go back to AEW, right? He's done with WWE or has a falling out with WWE, and he wants to kind of dip his toe in the water and see what the reaction is from the other side, that if Tony Khan got even an inkling that CM Punk was interested in coming back and doing something with AEW, do you honestly believe that he would not drop everything in a heartbeat to talk to CM Punk and potentially bring him back in?
This is the same man that has gone out on every interview he's done the last couple of years and absolutely, emphatically told everybody, all the creative is regarding him. It's all him. He's now more in the weeds than anything, and he's funneling himself to the forefront. Bro, he would absolutely bend over backwards and sell his unborn child to get CM Punk back in the company.
Do you remember that movie many years ago called The Good Son with Macaulay Culkin?
Yes.
Okay, so anybody who doesn't know this movie, first of all, he's really good in the movie, very disturbing. The opposite of Kevin McAllister in Home Alone. And so he's this really disturbed child, and I don't remember how he ends up with this woman and her son, but he is basically a little psychopath. And there's a scene, spoiler, sorry, but there's this big climactic scene later in the movie where they're on the side of a mountain. She's got one kid dangling off the mountain by one arm. She's got her kid dangling off the mountain by the other arm. And she can only save one, right? She can't save them both. She's not that strong. If you said to me that Tony Khan is the mother and CM Punk is one child and one arm and Jack Perry is the other child and the other arm, and and Tony Khan has to make a decision, he can only save one, Jack Perry is done. And Jack Perry goes flying off the side of that mountain. It's not even a consideration by Tony Khan. You will never convince me otherwise.
Of course not. In the midst of uncertainty with their TV deals coming up, you don't think he'd take CM Punk back?
Of course he would. And again, I'm saying the funny part about it is that if it came down like in some weird scenario, you can only pick one of them. They can't coexist together. Who you picking? Who do you think he's picking? I mean, come on, give me a break.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way that's happening. He's retiring in WWE. Is the bridge between Punk and Tony Khan kind of, is it fixable? Sure. That doesn't mean he's going to be able to go and work there. Like, as long as the Bucks, Omega, and Jack Perry are still there, and Adam Page is still there, Eddie Kingston's still there, he's not going back there. Like, I mean, what don't you people understand?
Well, he's got no
I
reason
told
to.
Coach today it would be like a 12-step program backwards for CM Punk to go back to AEW now. Why?
It would make no sense. I mean, he's going to finish his career in WWE.
Yes. And then he's going to run NXT alongside Shawn Michaels.
Well, I think that's his long-term goal. I think he absolutely wants to, if not run it, he wants to definitely help out in that capacity. So I think his future outside of the ring is also in WWE, and I think he sees that. But there's no reason for him to go back to AEW. The way things ended, it ended too badly. It doesn't mean that he can't repair certain relationships, but the idea that he would leave WWE to go there, it doesn't make any sense, especially at his age. He's going to finish his career exactly where he is. He's getting paid very well. He's not being asked for a fucking pay cut. Okay, so we can put that shit to bed. And
he's also not punished for knocking that guy's phone out of his hand in Las Vegas. Nothing happened there.
There's no evidence of that. This is all because he is off television and people are coming up with reasons. Well, why is he not on TV? Why is CM Punk? He's missing. He said he wasn't going to go on vacation. He's been gone ever since WrestleMania. Yet he's being advertised for a Fanatics Fest next month.
Yes.
They got Raw coming up at the beginning of July. July 6th, I believe, is in Chicago. He'll be back, if not that night, he'll be back before then. And you got SummerSlam coming up. Now, I can believe that they did have creative plans for him that got scuttled when if you presume Randy Orton really is hurt. Because you look what happened with Gunther. You cannot convince me that Gunther, the plan was always for him to go to SmackDown when he did. It was so sudden. Like, he was on Raw literally talking about going after the big gold belt.
Yeah, and a face-to-face with LA Knight.
Yeah, well, they were teasing a match with LA Knight. Right, that's right. LA Knight interrupted a backstage segment with Gunther. Yeah. And I think it was that Friday. It was either that Friday or the next Friday.
Yeah, he choked on Cody Rhodes.
He's fucking attacking Cody Rhodes on SmackDown. I go, what the hell happened here? What is going on? So something happened, okay? Something happened. They got the word that Randy Orton was going to be out for a while, whatever it is. And there was a creative change, and maybe it did have an effect on CM Punk's creative. That I could at least believe. That sounds plausible. But this nonsense about how there's heat and there's this and there's that, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. And that's why I tell people you have to be very careful with where you get your news from. Like, we're talking about this and we're giving our opinions and everything, but we also, we have functioning brains in our heads. And so some of this stuff is just so off the wall. I don't need confirmation from anybody to tell me that 95% of the stuff we're talking about is bullshit.
Sure.
It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. He'll be back on television within weeks. And everybody who is talking about this or reporting it as fact is going to look like a fool.
All right. Well, I mean, just look at it this way, too. A lot of people are like, well, he's been off TV for 2 months, guys. Sure. When you have someone of that elite level off TV for 2 months, you're going to start asking questions. But I don't think any of us should worry about where he is or where he's going to go and what the problem is with CM Punk. How about the man is in his late 40s and he's been grinding harder than fucking someone half his age.
With a history of injuries.
With a history of injuries, and he's given us some of the best matches of his entire career in this run. How about the guy wants some fucking time off? How about that? Is that so far-fetched to think? Maybe he deserves a time off? I don't know. Would you rather have CM Punk go 12 months out of the year and fucking risk injury and maybe his career? Or would you rather see him wrestle 9 months, 10 months out of the year and take 2 months off? I know what I would rather do. I don't understand it, but people ran with it. And like Jason said, CM Punk is still a name that's going to get clicks, and everybody ran with it. I made a video on it. Jason talked about it. That's what we do. That's what we're in the business to do. But you're also in the business to believe some fucking egg on social media or Mike Johnson of PW Insider. So please, like Jason said, be careful of where you get your news. Now, CM Punk and his creative, when he does come back, if he does come back for that July Chicago show, apparently the move is, Jason, to have him go to SmackDown. This is according to Dave Meltzer, and he addresses the speculation about where Punk is going to end up. Obviously, you guys know he lost to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 42. There wasn't even anything for him to do coming back to Monday Night Raw. All he did was tell Cody Rhodes that there may be a championship opportunity that falls out of the sky. I mean, if you need anything about his career direction, that's it right there. Now, per the report, the current plan is for Punk to come back on SmackDown as part of a roster move. The thinking is that with Raw stacked with Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, the Usos, Jacob Fatu, Braun Breaker, Logan Paul, amongst others, SmackDown, he'll be joining Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Rhea Ripley, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, who's going to be out for several months as he's filming another movie. But he is also on Friday Night SmackDown as well when he's ready to come back. That's a nice core of names right there. Cody Rhodes vs. CM Punk program has been floated as the next direction for both heading into SummerSlam. Now, the report also mentioned the date that Jason mentioned here, July 6th, Raw in Chicago has been discussed. And while that date is a Raw date rather than SmackDown, Chicago is Punk's hometown. It makes sense for him to return regardless. Now, let's talk about him moving to SmackDown, Jason. I guess we'll tie this all into what we want to talk about here, and we'll have fun with this King of the Ring stuff. Are you still feeling that if there is a really big blow up in this tournament, and we do get Oba Femi replaced in this tournament so that he could go to handle the Brock Lesnar business, that CM Punk is going to be that guy that fills in here and not Randy Orton?
Well, I mean, I think it's one of the two. But I'm feeling Punk more than Orton at this point. And again, it sounds very like, what are you talking about? He's not in the tournament. How could he win King of the Ring? But again, I've been talking about this now for a few weeks. I mean, you sounded pretty shocked when I first brought it up, last week or the week before. And it's like, what I was doing was trying to come up with a scenario where we can end this tournament in a way that everybody is like, oh, that was pretty cool. Or it's leading to something cool. When I talk about this stuff, it's with an eye towards SummerSlam. And what is that championship match that we're going to get? What is the best championship match on that show, presumably with Cody, that we could possibly get? And so I looked at this and I said, I was very unimpressed with where we are in this King of the Ring tournament. Like, it could have been a lot better than it was. Oba Femi is going to go to the finals of this tournament. You would think, okay, well, then Oba should win. And I agree with that, by the way. If this is just a straight, like, okay, it is what it is, and like, there's going to be no replacements, there's going to be no swerve, there's going to be no BS, I would love it if Oba would win, and Oba went to go claim whatever championship match he wants at SummerSlam. I feel like we're probably not headed in that direction, though, and I don't like what the alternative is. I really don't like what the alternative is. So I look at this, and like last night, Oba had a match with Dominic Mysterio. It was very straightforward. There were no surprises. There were no twists. There was no Brock Lesnar. Oba, he won the match. He cut a promo. He even said in his promo, hey, Brock, where are you? I was expecting you tonight.
Yeah.
And you didn't show up. This is the second week in a row now that he has insulted Brock. Now, last week he called him a bitch. Last night he questioned his manhood.
Well, the first week he also basically said he wants Brock's head on a platter. He wants Brock's head as a trophy.
Okay, well, but that's tame by comparison to some of the stuff that he said over the last couple of weeks. Last night, he basically said he had no balls. And so he's like poking the bear. So at some point, Brock Lesnar is going to step up and answer this. And so the question is when, right? Some people thought maybe he'd be there last night. Dom would eke out a win somehow. I mean, that would have been awful. Can you imagine, like, Dom pins Oba? Like,
oh, I know. There are people that actually wanted that to happen.
Oh, I'm sure. At least the count out would have been more tolerable, but either way, that would have been awful. But we look at this now. Oba is going to the final. He's going to Riyadh as things stand. The only question is who's going to be on the other side of the ring with him. Do I think that there is a possibility that they could shoot an angle where Oba doesn't even make it to the match? It's not a case where Brock interferes in the match. I'm talking about he doesn't even make it to the match and he gets taken out before that, maybe even next week.
Yeah.
Because I think we have one more Raw left, if I'm not mistaken, before we get to Night of Champions. And so, what if Brock were to show up next week? There was somebody who heard the idea that I was talking about, wrote into my podcast and said, "Oh, well, what if they did it this way?" And I actually liked this little addition to it, where if Brock were to show up and take this guy out, maybe he does it with the Kimura lock and he breaks his arm. And, Oba wants to go, but he can't get medically cleared. Brock broke his arm. So now Brock didn't just break his arm. He took away potentially a World Heavyweight Championship match from him. So these guys can go off at SummerSlam, and now they've got a real reason to, butt heads on that show. But now you got an opening in the finals of this tournament. You got to fill that spot somehow. What do you do?
Well, that's a stereotypical Triple H move. That takes Oba off TV for a few weeks, and they love doing that shit.
Well, yeah, and it kills time until we get a little bit closer to SummerSlam then. But then who do you fill that spot with? Enter Randy Orton or enter CM Punk. And to me, if you were going to do it that way, CM Punk makes a lot more sense, especially if the Yeet Man makes it to the finals and not Javon Evans. I kind of feel like if Javon is the one who surprises people and goes to the finals, that Orton would make more sense then. But like Punk steps up, right? He's been gone. It's this big surprise. Oh my God, Punk is back. And he wins. And there's that opportunity that he told Cody about. You never know, right? When an opportunity may come out of nowhere and fall in your lap, and he wins King of the Ring, and that's how you switch him over from Raw to SmackDown, because he chooses to go after the WWE Championship.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're not going to run back Punk and Roman. We've already done that. And so that gets Punk on SmackDown. That gets Punk in one of the two main events at SummerSlam. And that is a match that, as a fan, I would love to see. To me, that's one of the biggest matches they could possibly do that has not been done, is Punk and Cody. And so that was my line of thinking with this whole Punk stuff. I was also thinking about this. If Punk is coming back and they're not going to do any of this, who does he even wrestle at SummerSlam?
I pitched Sami Zayn. Yeah. Because he'd defend Cody, and he's friends with Cody, and he teach Sammy a lesson. Something simple.
You could. I mean, you could do that. But again, to me, this makes things a lot more exciting to me.
Yeah.
And with an eye towards SummerSlam, that's an outcome. If Oba's not going to win, that's an outcome that I would be like, okay, that gets me excited now, to see one of these two main events at SummerSlam. So, yeah, I think Punk more so than Orton. If I had to, make a bet here as to which one it would be, I think Punk fits like a glove in this scenario.
It is chaotic, but it's a good chaotic, and I like that. And I'm actually secretly hoping that is the way it plays out. But Oba beat Dominic last night. Like Jason said, very straightforward. Jey Uso will wrestle Javon Evans on Friday in Kansas City. So that is where we determine who wrestles Oba. Now, I got a list of 6 things here. That was one of them, what Jason just mentioned and perfectly described to us. I'm going to go through this list. This is where we sit right now with the King of the Ring. So the first thing on my list is Oba wins King of the Ring, challenges Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, and we get Oba versus Brock at Saturday night's main event at Madison Square Garden. Yay or nay on that?
With Oba then wrestling Roman, you mean?
Yes, at SummerSlam, yeah.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense, because having Brock not wrestle in Minneapolis against Oba doesn't really make any sense to me.
It doesn't make sense, and I don't think it's going to happen. But I'll still say yay, though. If it did work out that way, I'd be okay with that.
Okay, all right, I'm all right with that too. I think a lot of people, including us, are putting a lot of emphasis on Minneapolis and Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam.
To bring Brock back for another match here and to not have him then on the SummerSlam card, which happens to be where he's from, doesn't make any sense. And honestly, him against anybody but Oba on that show doesn't make any sense. There's not enough time to even start some new program with him and somebody else for that show. So he's going to wrestle there, and Oba is the only one that really makes sense.
Would you be opposed to this playing out and then Brock gets Gunther at SummerSlam? You don't want to see that, right?
Yeah, I got to tell you, the stuff that they've done recently in recent months with Gunther, he's lost some of that shine.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel that excitement isn't there in the way that maybe it would have been 6 months ago. So I'm going to say no.
All right. There's the small part of me that wants to see the match. I just don't think, and I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, I just don't think Brock wants to work with Gunther. I don't. I mean, he'd have to actually wrestle a match, and I don't think Brock wants to wrestle.
No, he wouldn't. He would wrestle the same match he always wrestles. He would try to throw him
4
around
minutes?
with super. Maybe 6.
6 minutes. Okay.
It's not going to go 10 or 15. But no, I mean, Brock's going to wrestle the match that Brock always wrestles. It doesn't matter who he's in the ring with. The opponent will have to adapt to Brock. Brock is not going to adapt to the opponent. Like, that's what we've learned, okay? From all he wrestled Rey Mysterio, he wrestled Daniel Bryan, he wrestled AJ. All these people he's wrestled, his style never changes. The thing that I noticed in the last match with Oba, the rematch, was that I don't think there was a single German suplex.
No, it was all F5s.
All F5s, not one suplex in that match. I mean, he was suplexing him around a WrestleMania like crazy, but not one suplex. That's the closest thing to like, wow, that's very unlike Brock Lesnar here in a Brock Lesnar match. Otherwise, you're going to get the same thing every single time. So nothing ever really changes there.
You would think that Gunther got 15 minutes out of Goldberg, that he would probably be able to do the same thing with Lesnar, but apparently not.
Well, so here's as you talk about this. Here's one way where maybe it would work. If you did do the Oba Brock match and blew it off in Madison Square Garden,
Yeah.
again, you wouldn't have a lot of time. It's just a matter of weeks. But if the idea was that, because remember what John Cena said last year? John Cena was talking about this like Brock's going to be wrestling his last match in Minneapolis. And it was almost like a throwaway comment in that interview with Chris Van Vliet. If in fact the real retirement for Brock is coming at SummerSlam, and I'm skeptical about that, but let's just say it is. It's Minneapolis, especially Minneapolis. They may want him to go in there or go out of there as a babyface. Then you could do something with him and Gunther. You could put something together very quickly coming out of the Oba match, where if they want Brock to leave the babyface and maybe even win in Minneapolis, then you could do that with Gunther, because Gunther's going to be the heel in that situation no matter what. And that would give Brock the chance to leave as the babyface. So you could do that. I'm not saying that that's necessarily what I want them to do, but like if that's the idea where Brock is going to be the babyface in this situation, then Gunther would be a good opponent for him.
Yeah, it could work. I just don't think that we're going to get there. So that was the first thing on my list. Number 2, Jey Uso wins King of the Ring. Puke. Challenges Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam for the WWE Championship per Roman's request. Yay or nay to this lovely creative here?
Nay.
You don't want to see Yeet Man versus Cody. That's not a SummerSlam main event to you?
Nay.
Okay.
Nay is my answer.
Jey Uso wins King of the Ring. Defies Roman. Challenges Roman for the World Heavyweight Championship because of favored treatment to Jacob Fatu, and Jey Uso is jealous. This is a theory, and this could realistically happen. I got to put it on there.
Nay.
Not a fan of their last SummerSlam match, huh?
Their last SummerSlam match was awful. And I haven't forgotten about that match. So, yes, I'm going to say nay.
It could happen. I don't want to see it, but we got to get CM Punk back ASAP if this is the case.
Of course it could happen. Jey Uso had like five or six different segments, I think, on the show last night.
Yeah.
I know you don't watch with the VPN, but like during one of the commercial breaks, he got a whole promo out in the arena with Byron Saxton. Okay. So that was another one. So he was all over the show, and he'll be all over the show this Friday as well. So yes, of course it could happen. Do I want to see Jey Uso in the main event? No, and I thought we were over this. I thought we were beyond this. The one thing I will say is like I enjoy Jey Uso more when he sort of, what's the word for it? When he's all kind of wound up and angry, as opposed to just coming out and being the happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah.
So like I'm not saying I don't enjoy him more when he's that way, like the right-hand man, as opposed to what we were getting maybe a year ago. But Jey Uso in the main event of a big show like SummerSlam, like, we're past this. We're past this. I have no interest. I have no appetite for it. No, absolutely.
All right. You're gonna love my next two. My next two on the list here. Next one on the list is Jey Uso wins King of the Ring. Gunther beats Cody. Gunther beats Cody Rhodes, becomes the new WWE champion, and we get Jey Uso versus Gunther for the WWE title at SummerSlam.
Oh my God. No.
All right. Nay on that. I got to put it on there. It's a possibility with what
No, you don't have to. You just put it on there to piss me off. So the answer is nay.
All right. Here's another one. Jey Uso wins King of the Ring. We get a triple threat match coming out of this match on Friday at Night of Champions with Sami Zayn, Gunther, and Cody Rhodes. Sami Zayn wins the WWE title, takes it into SummerSlam. We get Jey Uso versus Sami Zayn. We got Yeet Man versus Honorary Uso for the WWE title.
Nay.
All right, it's got to be on there.
That's not a main event. That's not a SummerSlam main event.
I understand. I had to come up with all variables. This is.
I'm just saying. Right. I'm just saying that is not a SummerSlam main event.
All right. Javon Evans wins King of the Ring. Yeah, sure. Javon Evans wins King of the Ring, which he won't chat. Challenges Roman Reigns / Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam for either world championship.
Nay.
Okay.
It's way too premature to be talking about. I mean, I know we're talking about Oba being in the main event, but there's a difference between Oba and Javon.
Yeah.
Okay. And Javon, is he still 21, right? He hasn't turned 22 yet?
No.
He doesn't need to be in the SummerSlam main event.
No. He's lucky he's there. Oba wins King of the Ring. Brock Lesnar returns, faces Oba, or forces Oba, to put his title shot on the line versus his career. Night 1 of SummerSlam. Oba beats Brock, retires Brock, and then he challenges Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight title on night 2. So we're looking at a WrestleMania 40 situation where Oba's got to wrestle the Beast on night 1 and then wrestle the Tribal Chief on night 2.
If you do that, then he's losing on night 2.
You're not going all the way with him, huh?
Not in that scenario.
That would be a ballsy move by Triple H, I'll tell you that.
I just feel like that to me, to do that back-to-back like that, I think would be a bit much. He's super over, but I do think that you do run the risk of, okay, now you're throwing too much at once, where it's like, is this too much of Oba? Are they going overboard with it? But also, if you do that, you don't have proper time to really build up a Roman Reigns Oba Femi match. The Roman Reigns Oba Femi match is an afterthought because you're going into SummerSlam now. You don't even know if that's going to be the match.
Yeah.
So he beats Brock, and you basically have 24 hours to promote the fact that you are doing the first ever Roman Reigns Oba Femi match. Then Oba's not winning. You've got to give those two proper time to really tell that story. And that's the only drawback of that scenario, where you're not getting enough time to tell the story between them.
I agree with that. This has been discussed, and fans have kind of laid this out as a possible scenario, so I had to put it on the list.
Yeah,
And
I think it would be overkill.
Yeah, it does sound overkill, but I don't think they go that route anyway, because that's just too much for them, and I think Triple H would overload his little device there in his chest. He can't do that. He doesn't have the capability to do that. And this is the one that Jason alluded to, but I will repeat it. Brock Lesnar attacks Oba Femi in London next week. Oba doesn't make the finals. CM Punk fills in, beats Jey Uso at Night of Champions, challenges Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, moves to SmackDown with the move. Seth Rollins ends up getting Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, and then God knows what LA Knight's doing. He either gets Jey Uso or Jacob Fatu at SummerSlam.
Yay.
So out of all the options, I think the one that Jason has laid out for us, realistically, now looking at all the potential options here, and there's 9 of them, that's probably the best way to go, honestly. Because it's either Oba or bust, honestly. Out of all the things that we have laid out in front of us, nobody wants Jey Uso, everybody wants Oba. I just don't think WWE is going to go all the way with Oba in this way after doing the teases for Brock Lesnar. Now, you look at Oba and Jey Uso, Jason. Is that going to be the final going into Night of Champions? Are we doing that match, babyface for babyface, like that?
Oh,
even though the whole tournament now still consists of babyface and only babyfaces.
Well, I mean, Jey Uso is not necessarily just a straight baby. Jey Uso is kind of straddling that line right now.
The whole bloodline is.
The whole group is.
Yeah.
So very, very Death Rider-ish.
I mentioned that last night. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what the hell. Roman basically has just reverted back to being Roman of 5 years ago. Yeah. At this point. No, I mean everything right now. You know what my gut was telling me coming out of last night. Barring again the replacement scenario. After Oba won and then cut that promo, I felt like Jey Uso just won King of the Ring last night. It just felt to me like, barring some unforeseen circumstance, Jey Uso won the crown. The only thing left to do is put the crown on his head, because for all the shit that Oba's been talking about Brock, it's going to come back around to bite him on the ass. And so the final is probably going to be Oba and Jey. If that happens, Jey wins. And I couldn't shake that feeling. Like, man, I feel like we just, without seeing it yet, we just saw Jey Uso win King of the Ring after last night.
So your heart is saying what you have pitched as far as the Punk situation, but you think what WWE is going to actually execute is Jey Uso winning the King of the Ring because Lesnar is going to attack Oba and cost them the King of the Ring final?
That's, yes, if they don't go with the other idea and they play it straight, which they did last night, right, in the main event. It was just a straight match, Oba won. If everything from this point forward, there's no big swerve or anything, they play it straight, the person who wins is going to be the person who's in the tournament, then yeah, I think they end up going with Jey in that scenario.
So what do you do with Jey Uso? Cody or Roman?
Well, I mean, they've been teasing Cody, so I would assume that would be the plan. And then you have Bloodline on night 1 in the main event, Bloodline on night 2 in the main event. That's what I would assume.
God, that sounds fucking terrible.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, it does.
And
so I really hope that's not what they have in mind here, but they love the Bloodline. It's not enough. Like, the more of the Bloodline that they could do, then they'll do it because they're so in love with it. I'm sure TKO is in love with it, and they can't get enough of it. Look at last night. Raw is now Monday Night Bloodline. Like, that's their show. So that's part of why Raw's the A show, because it's the show where Roman and the Bloodline are. And so SmackDown, I'm not surprised. When you think about it in those terms, it kind of makes sense why SmackDown got the shaft in the King of the Ring tournament and they got swept. Not one SmackDown name came out as a winner at any point in this tournament.
What is it? Charlotte's the only blue representative here for SmackDown?
She's the only SmackDown name that at least moved on to the next round. Everybody else on the SmackDown side got completely swept. I said, like on my show, I said, this is more impressive than even the Knicks sweeping the 76ers and the Cavaliers in the playoffs. Like, this is the great SmackDown sweep. And so if you ever needed an example of what WWE really thinks of their Friday show as compared to their Monday show, then this is it. And if they can't be, if they can't be pushed enough to care about SmackDown, then why should we? SmackDown was completely buried in this, dude. They were buried in this.
I don't know. Yes, I know they were, but it just goes. It's par for the course with what we've been seeing on Friday night for 3 hours. I mean,
that's why I said, like, I'm watching SmackDown on Friday. I'm like, it's down to Royce Keys or Finn Balor. One of these guys has to be the savior to at least go to the next round. And then I see Jey Uso win. He pins LA Knight. I go, this is of all the scenarios that we could have laid out for that fatal 4-way on Friday, they went with the worst one.
I don't know. And the fact that he pinned LA Knight, too. They couldn't even pin Finn Balor because it was his first time back on the show. And Royce Keys, they're not going to pin Royce Keys.
But you knew that. You knew that was going to happen. Come on.
Yeah,
dude.
but when I get a situation like that staring me in the face, I hope they don't go and do that because it's something that is just expected with this company.
You can hope all you want to, but like LA Knight is where LA Knight will always be.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to change.
Unfortunately. Queen of the Ring. Let's talk about the Queen of the Ring. I think we've made a determination that there is a high probability, chat. I know I don't want to ruin your evenings, but Jey Uso could theoretically be the King of the Ring, and there's a real possibility of that happening in just about 12 days or so. Queen of the Ring, Charlotte, Jade, Sol Ruca, Lyra happened on Friday. Nobody's talking about this match outside of the incident with Jade Cargill, which, I mean, if you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. But Charlotte was... Go ahead.
I'm just going to say, I this was our first time to see Jade and Charlotte in the ring together because that's probably going to be the match at SummerSlam. And it was not good.
No.
What we got on Friday was not good. I mean, I thought Lyra and Sol were really the stars of that match. I thought they looked pretty good in there.
Bro, I've been saying Jade, and I say this every week, and nobody listens to me. Jade wrestles like she's memorizing what she needs to do next. I've been seeing it since AEW.
Well, very, very deliberate, very tentative. It was very slow.
Yeah.
And it was almost, what I described it as, it was almost like I was watching, maybe like a drill in like school, where they were like kind of going through the moves.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like Jade's a weird one because I can watch her in the ring with like Rhea in the last 2 matches they had. And I thought those were good matches. Those were some of the best matches I think that she's had since coming to WWE. But then every now and then there'll be something like this. And in this case, it was a multi-person match. And so I don't know if it's a case where when she's in a multi-person situation, she gets lost, or maybe I don't know. Maybe it's better if it's a one-on-one scenario as opposed to a 3-way or a 4-way. But this is the first time I've seen them in the ring together, and I'm watching this, and they're moving so slow, and it's almost like slow motion. And I'm like, man, if this is going to be the SummerSlam match, I hope it's a lot better than what we got on Friday. That's really all this I feel is where like house shows would be very useful, because then you can have Charlotte and Jade go out there for weeks and just work together on the road.
Yeah.
And they can perfect the match that they're going to have at SummerSlam by getting out in front of these live crowds and just doing the match, night after night after night until they get comfortable with each other. So I feel like this is one of those situations where they would really benefit from that.
Well, Charlotte was the clear choice here, coming in and coming out, and thank God she won this match. Lyra was a dark horse. Sol Ruka was never going to win this. She just won the IC title. And Jade, I don't think she's going to be factoring into anything World Championship for the time being, so Charlotte was the right choice. So now Charlotte meets Liv Morgan, and on Raw last night, it was Io and Raquel Rodriguez. For the 10 minutes that they had, I thought they did pretty well with what they were given. I think they do work good together. Io won that, so now we're looking at Io in the finals, and now we just await Liv and Charlotte on Friday in Kansas City. To me, and I think you feel the same way, Jason, Charlotte and Io is the final for this, and I think that's the right final. But there is a chance that Liv Morgan ends up winning this, and we get Liv and Io. I don't want to count her out completely with the Judgment Day and the numbers game. Do we see Stephanie Vaquer show up on Friday in Kansas City, or is that something that we just need to move on from?
No, I mean, they're going to get back to Liv and Stephanie. I just don't know if she's kind of roped into this whole visa situation. So I don't really know if she is going to be there or not on Friday. I thought she would have already been there. Like, I thought in the first round she would have showed up, and Liv wouldn't have even made it out of the first round. So I just don't know. I'm still expecting them to pick up with Stephanie and Liv, though, once they have the chance to do so. I would not at all be surprised if Liv goes to the finals and then loses there. But I'm still expecting and hoping that we get that we get Queen and King. Hey, you know what? There's one scenario that you didn't lay out when we were talking about this before. Maybe they could just have Io Sky win King of the Ring too while they're at it.
Why not? She deserves it. She missed WrestleMania, Paul.
Fuck. She had a great fucking match with Penta and Lucha Underground years ago. Shit, man. Let her win King of the Ring. That's fine with me. But I'm hoping we get Queen Io. And at that point, it just becomes a matter of which championship does she go after. If she beats Liv in the finals, it could be like, well, now I'm going to challenge you again, only this time for the championship, and they run it back at SummerSlam. Or she could pick Rhea, but we don't know what Rhea's status is going to be because Rhea's hurt right now.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Rhea right now, they talked about her getting injured in Italy, at Clash in Italy, and I don't know what the severity of that situation is. If we are to just work with what we're given here, and Rhea is the world champion, Io and Rhea is something that I've been personally wanting to see. I don't know if they go ahead and do that. SmackDown right now seems overloaded with women, and then you would theoretically be moving Io to SmackDown, which I don't think right now is going to benefit Raw at all. So what I think we do here is, with what you laid out, Liv to the finals possibly, and then Io beats Liv, and Io challenges Liv again at SummerSlam. When and where we do Stephanie, because they need to finish that, I don't know. Io Liv, I think we do Charlotte Jade. I think that's the current direction. I know she did pick up the United States Championship after beating down Tiffany Stratton on Friday. I don't think they immediately go to that. So I'm Charlotte Jade, Liv Io. I think we do. I know WrestleVotes talked about Rhea versus JC Jane as a possibility. And for Tiffany Stratton, who I think needs to be at SummerSlam, being that it's Minneapolis and they bill her from Minneapolis, I said, Jason, what about this? Blake Monroe challenging Tiffany Stratton for the United States title.
Very bold of you to think that there's absolutely 100% going to be a U.S. title match at SummerSlam.
I didn't mention Sol Ruka either. I don't know what she's doing, but those are the big
bold
four.
of you.
I know.
You think do you realistically, do you think that both mid-card women's belts are going to be defended on that show?
Bro, Tiffany missed WrestleMania. You can't have her miss WrestleMania and SummerSlam.
Of course you can. This is WWE.
I don't like to think that way, man. I want things to be done right.
Okay, but I'm just being practical here. They can't. Of course they can. I think that would be crazy, but no, of course they can. So, yeah, I mean, you could do that. I mean, Jade picking up the U.S. title, I just can't imagine them going back to a program leading into a SummerSlam match. We've seen it already.
Zero interest.
We've seen it multiple times. So, like, if they want to get a TV match out of it, that's fine. But yeah, I can't imagine that would end up being the SummerSlam match. So, but look, if you want to do that, that would be fine. If you want to lay out that Tiffany scenario, I'd be okay with that.
Against Blake Monroe?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
did you see some of the videos on social media of them at Tiffany's house?
I have. Who went into a cake? Tiffany Stratton went to a cake?
Tiffany, yeah.
Okay.
Blake sent Tiffany into the cake and then ran out of the house. And then there was a second video as well. Javon, meanwhile, is just in the background in all this. So Javon is hanging out with the two of them. I don't know if he's a next door neighbor. I don't know. What he's just kind of there in the background.
What a lucky guy he is, huh?
He's a very lucky guy. So yeah, but no, like Tiffany and Blake, I wouldn't mind it. It's kind of like that Spider-Man meme where it's like they're pointing at each other.
Yeah. I mean, but these vignettes are very strategic. She mentioned Charlotte. She mentioned Rhea. She's mentioned Tiffany now. So she's going to be feuding with all three of them for sure. But one of them may or may not be her SummerSlam opponent. So I would book her for SummerSlam. But
well, she's got to debut first, which technically she already did. And I love how like they started airing these vignettes. And then 1 week on SmackDown, she was there. She was backstage. And I forgot who came up to her. But it was like 15 seconds. And then I might have been Chelsea. And then she just kind of walked away from Chelsea. And then they went right back to the vignettes. And it's been nothing but vignettes ever. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, what did she show up for that week?
It must have slipped onto the run sheet. Triple H didn't see it. I don't know.
He was like, no, that's not supposed to be her. It's supposed to be Tiffany. What is she doing here? Get her out of there. And then they like, pretended it never happened. Okay.
I could see that.
I could see that too. Yeah.
SmackDown largely was a waste of time.
But by the way, before you go on here, just so to kind of piggyback on what we were just talking about, they did issue a new poster, an updated poster for Night of Champions earlier today, and Rhea has been replaced in the poster by Tiffany.
Okay, so Rhea is not going to be at Night of Champions.
And it looks like instead of WWE Women's Championship match, we might get a U.S. title match instead.
Which would be against Jade?
Could be.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Could
Imagine
be.
5 matches on that show, one of them being a United States title match that nobody cares about. Fantastic. We'll get into the rest of the SmackDown, which I said was largely unimpressive as per usual. We had Brie Bella and Paige against Fatal Influence. I shit on Brie Bella and Paige all the time, and them being tag team champions, but I thought they wrestled decent here. The Fatal Influence ladies, they wrestle very, what's a good word to put it? They wrestle very aggressive. I like that. I like all three of them.
But I have a question.
Yeah.
If I may.
Sure.
This was a non-title match.
Yes, it was.
Why did the champions have to win? What was accomplished by them beating Fatal Influence?
So
they beat them in a non-title match. So that's it.
Yeah. So you wanted Fatal Influence to beat the champions to get the stereotypical championship match at a later date?
Because I want these belts off of these two, and I feel like if you're going to beat the champions in a non-title match, that they should get a title shot out of it. Then yes, that's exactly what I was hoping for.
Well,
But they may be doing a title change on Raw next week because we have Brie and Paige are going to be in London defending the tag team titles against Bayley and Lyra.
Yeah.
So maybe they're going to get the belts off of them there. Maybe we transition into something with Bayley and Lyra against Fatal Influence.
I would much rather them the champions than Brie and Paige for sure.
Yeah.
But the obligatory hometown pop for Paige should be cool to see. They're defending the titles against Bayley and Lyra on Monday. 2 p.m. start time, by the way. We go back to the early streams for at least another week. That was on the show. Sami Zayn. This was, to me, one of the best segments that WWE had showcased all year on television. Sami and Cody airing their grievances face-to-face. I loved this segment. And I've been all over this. I mentioned it on my review. I mentioned it today with Coach. I made some Instagram reels about it. People are calling me fucking all sorts of shit. JD, you lost your mind. You're crazy. Sami is garbage. All this other stuff. Listen, I'm not afraid to admit it. I've been a Sami Zayn ride or die guy since his days in NXT. I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm a big Sami Zayn guy. So, Jason, this segment, the way that they interact with each other, in my opinion, the reason why I think Sami Zayn is such a great, not so much a character, but just a great promo, is because he reminds me a little bit of Mick Foley. He's got that genuineness, that everyday man type of character to him.
Well, it's also the flannel he wears sometimes.
Yeah, that also kind of adds to the whole Mick Foley vibe to it for sure. But he's just like us. He's someone that a lot of people kind of look at and say he should be cleaning the bathrooms instead of being a world champion. I get what people are talking about in that regard to Sami Zayn, but he is one of the best wrestlers that they have, one of the best wrestlers in the world. He speaks with no fluff. He doesn't mince his words. And I do think that he brings a good side of Cody Rhodes out, a Cody that we haven't seen in a very long time. I feel Sami brought more out of Cody than I feel Drew McIntyre did, Jacob Fatu did. There's only a certain group of guys that can bring that kind of ferocity out of Cody Rhodes. Kevin Owens did it. CM Punk is eventually going to do it. I feel like Sami is in that elite category. Them going back and forth was tremendous. The slap was tremendous. Sami's kind of like in this moment. He doesn't know what version of Sami Zayn he's going to get, Cody.
Well, the Cody slap was tremendous. The Sami slap was kind of weak.
Well, yeah, I mean, fine. But them going back and forth was really, really great. So we get this kind of thread throughout the show after this, and Gunther is about to pick a stipulation. So he had the lawyers go and look over everything, and he's decided after this promo, I want someone to referee my match that's going to call it right down the middle, and he chose Sami Zayn to be the special guest referee. Now, we floated a bunch of ideas. We landed on that being a possibility last week here on TNT, and I love it. I think that's great. It adds a nice sense of unpredictability, and like you mentioned, I think this is all going to lead to some sort of fuck finish. I don't know how they're going to end the match. That's going to be interesting to see. But like you said, I think we end up getting a triple threat match at Night of Champions with Sami, Cody, and Gunther. And this is where you may disagree with me. I don't know. I'm going all the way, bro. I'm going Night of Champions. If we do get a triple threat match, I'm belting Sami Zayn and making him the new WWE champion. Whether it's a week, 2 weeks, a month, I don't care. I think Sami becoming the champion can't do any worse than where SmackDown is right now. And I feel a lot of the problems with SmackDown at the top of the card rest in the lap of Cody Rhodes because he's so vanilla. He's so boring. Everything just feels same old shit with him. Everybody he feuds with. This feels different. And when Sami wrestled Roman, it wasn't his story to finish. Meanwhile, that was the ultimate opportunity to change the championship from Roman to somebody else. That was Sami's moment. They couldn't do it because it was Cody's moment. I feel like now, after they fumbled it earlier in the year, this is the prime opportunity to do it. I'm belting Sami Zayn in Saudi Arabia.
Well, I mean, the only problem with that is that it sort of negates everything that we just got done talking about in terms of the King of the Ring. So in any of these scenarios, whether it's Oba, Jey, Punk, right? If we presume that it would be one of those men winning King of the Ring, I don't think it works if Sami is the champion at SummerSlam and they're not going to leave Cody out of the main event. It's just not practical. I am not opposed to Sami getting a short run with it, but I don't mean short in terms of 2 weeks. I just think, to me, that would be ridiculous. To me, it would be ridiculous to get the belt off of Sami and say, well, you could just put it back on Cody at Saturday night's main event. And then what? And then 3 weeks later, have Cody lose it right back to somebody else at SummerSlam? Like, I don't think time-wise it really makes sense for Sami to win the belt now. But I am with you in that I am not opposed to him getting a short run with the belt this year at some point. I just don't know that right now it necessarily works because of the King of the Ring scenario. I just don't think it fits.
Yeah.
That's the only issue I have with it. Just, it leads directly into the main event of SummerSlam. And unless you end up with some sort of multi-man situation, I just cannot imagine. And I can't get behind Sami one-on-one with any of these people. And then, because Cody's not going to be left out in the dark. So it just doesn't make sense to me.
Huh. Trying to figure out how we can weasel Sami Zayn into a championship run here.
But there is something else we didn't discuss.
Yeah, go ahead.
We were talking about Randy Orton. We were talking about Punk as possibilities, as a replacement in the King of the Ring final. Is there a way that we could get to a place where it's Sami Zayn as the replacement? So maybe when they get to, again, we don't know how it's going to end exactly on Friday this week. I assume that they're going to do a triple threat at Night of Champions and Sami would be involved in that match, right? Because he's part of that story. But if they didn't want to do that, but Sami is hell-bent on fighting his way to the WWE Championship, then what better way than for him to somehow finagle his way into this opening that just appeared in the tournament, and maybe it's him and Jey Uso in the finals, right? Let's say of the King of the Ring, and Sami wins, and now he can pick Cody for a one-on-one match at SummerSlam. You could have Sami Zayn win the championship at SummerSlam.
Listen, man, if that happens, A, I'd be shocked. B, I'm all in on that. I would love to see. Imagine Sami Zayn walking out of SummerSlam as the WWE champion. Fans are going to hate it. Social media's going to hate it. I'm going to be the only one sitting on an island all by myself. I'm going to love that. That would be great.
I don't think everybody is going to hate it. I think it would get boos, but I think it might be also more positive than you're giving it credit for. I think he does have fans they do have fans who are probably a little sick and tired of Cody. So it might be more of a mixed reaction, but we got
Osiri in the chat. Gargano helped Sami win the belt again. They got to pay that off somehow. What better way to have him fucking come out of his coma than helping Sami Zayn win the WWE title?
Well, I mean, so the guy who's been planking for 6 months is gonna help him win the WWE championship. Hey, anything to get him off the freaking crate and actually doing something, I'm okay with. But I don't know if I realistically see them doing that, but sure. I mean, he's been venting to him now for weeks. But I'm just saying, in order to get to where you want to get to, I feel like that's the only way I can really, in my mind, make that work. I don't think it works the other way.
Well, maybe we don't get a triple threat match at all. Maybe it's a rematch between Gunther and Cody at Night of Champions.
That's what I'm saying, though. Yeah. Like, if to do what I just suggested, then they would have to not do a triple threat at Night of Champions. They could do maybe a stipulation match of some other kind with Cody and Gunther. And then Sami, who has nothing to do, but there's this opening, he somehow talks his way into it, and so he gets slotted in there, and he wins King of the Ring.
I like that.
Then that would work, because then he's got a clear runway just to pick Cody, and you do it one-on-one. Gunther is the kind of the odd man out here, because now what are we talking about? We're talking about Gunther losing at Clash in Italy. We're talking about Gunther losing on Friday, or at least not winning the title on Friday. And then what, a third to lose again? That's the only thing. It kind of kills off Gunther at that point, because 3 times.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that idea, though. I mean, no triple threat match.
I do too. Dude, I would be totally fine with even more than Orton, Punk or Sami.
Yeah.
If they needed, again, in a big swerve, somebody to step in there and take Oba's spot if Brock were to take him out, I'm cool with either one of those guys.
Well, then what do you do with Punk at SummerSlam if he's not going to be the WWE title situation?
Well, that's why I asked the question. And then you brought up Sami. Because if Punk is not going to be challenging Cody, but he's coming back soon, I don't know. To me, there's no obvious opponent for him on either brand. I mean, they'll come up with somebody. That person's not jumping out at me right now. I don't know who that would be. There is one name.
It's probably the same name I'm thinking about.
Okay, so maybe it is.
Yeah.
It's one name who has been out for a very long time. And it's one of the reasons why I want Punk on SmackDown. One of the many reasons why I think he should be on SmackDown. I don't know where Kevin Owens is in his recovery from his neck injury. We haven't heard anything recently. It's been very quiet. Again, put my fantasy cap on here. I would love it if we were able to get Kevin Owens back in time for a SummerSlam match. And so can you imagine if Punk was not involved in the championship stuff, but we could get something with Punk and Kevin Owens on that show?
If that's possible, man. I mean, that would instantly turn SmackDown into the show that I would be most interested in.
And it would be the kickoff. So we're not paying anything off. We're kicking off what I would love to see is like a months-long feud between the two of them.
Well, that's way off. I didn't have Kevin Owens slotted into that role. I was going to say Ricky Saints.
Oh, my idea is much better.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So when I think of like, okay, well, who could Punk work with if he's not in the main event? There's no other name that really interests me, but a KO return against Punk. Now you've got my attention.
How far along is he in his recovery? How long has he been out? Has it been over a year?
I think July is a year. So that's why I'm not sure he's ready for that. But it's been very quiet, so I'm not sure exactly where in the timeline, but I'm almost positive he didn't have surgery right away. If I remember, there were months that went by, maybe there was swelling or whatever.
Yeah.
And I want to say he didn't get the surgery until July. So it may be a little premature, but again, and again, whether it's now or fucking the end of the year, I don't give a shit. As long as at some point we get Punk and Owens. Because I just think it would be a crime if we just never end up getting that match.
Yeah, it has to happen. Absolutely has to happen. The rest of SmackDown looks like this. Rey Fenix, the only way they can get him in something meaningful is by holding another promotions championship. He defended the AAA Cruiserweight Championship against Axiom. Good match here, but I would rather see Rey Fenix on the show because WWE wants to use him, not because he's the AAA Cruiserweight Champion. Trick Williams is holding court on SmackDown. Apparently, he asked Ricky Saints and Carmelo Hayes to once again go one-on-one, and then we will determine who gets the next shot at Trick Williams, hopefully at Night of Champions. You would think at Night of Champions. So I'm hoping for Melo to get the match with Trick at SummerSlam. I'm okay with Ricky Saints getting the match against Trick in Saudi Arabia. What do you think about that?
I think everything is building to a three-way, probably at SummerSlam.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Are we taking the belt off Trick Williams and putting it back on Carmelo?
No.
Okay.
I don't think they are.
Poor Melo.
Yeah, well, hey.
It's the way the cookie crumbles, man. His friend is a lot more over than he is. So.
Well, I mean, you can just see the way they position him on the show. I mean, he's got charisma for days. They put Lil Yachty with him. I mean, Trick's their guy. So, yeah, I don't see them taking that belt off him just yet. Or if they do, honestly, if they're going to take it off and put it on anybody for a while, it probably would be Ricky Saints. I think they would want it on a heel and then have Trick chase to get it back. But that's only if they were going to take the belt off him. I just can't see them taking it off him just to put it back on Carmelo.
Yeah. Yeah, don't take it off him too soon. He's going to be challenging for the world title soon enough, but let's kind of marinate him and build him up slowly but surely. Chelsea and Tiffany Stratton, Russell B-Fab, and Meechin, thanks for coming. And then we talked about the King of the Ring 4-way with Jey Uso pinning LA Knight. So that was the story there on Friday Night SmackDown. I have a report here that I wanted to include in this LA Knight discussion, and I bookmarked it on, I think I bookmarked it on X. Give me a second while I find it, because this was actually pretty interesting. I don't have it. I thought I bookmarked it. It was from bodyslam.net.
Well, I think I have it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. The report about why they...
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'll read it.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, there's a report about why WWE will not push LA Knight further than where he is right now, and Jason's going to read that. But when he does read it, it's not going to be surprising.
Well, first of all, this is credited to WrestleVotes Radio via Fightful Select. It says, one of the reasons that LA Knight has not been given a bigger role in WWE is that although he remains over with the crowd, there are internal concerns regarding his in-ring consistency. WWE also sees Jey Uso as a stronger worker in the ring. Hush yourself.
That got me, man.
A stronger worker in the ring, a good merchandise mover, and is more coachable, which has helped influence his booking recently. So that is per WrestleVotes.
He's a better worker than LA Knight, huh?
I already see the laughing emojis in the chat.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess based on WWE's definition of what they look for at a worker, I guess so. I guess he must be.
Yeeting, running it back, more yeeting, spear, super kick, a thrust uppercut, and what else does he do? A bit Uso splash.
Look, I've said this before. I think if LA Knight wants to be world heavyweight champion, there's one very simple thing he can do. He needs to just rush out to the nearest tattoo shop that he can find, and he's got to get a tribal sleeve down his arm. Now, if he does that, I think within 6 months, he's going to be a world heavyweight champion. That's going to be the only way that LA Knight ends up with a world heavyweight title. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know. I know you're joking, but
I'm only half joking.
Kind of not. Yeah,
I'm only half joking because, again, like if he was going to be the world champion, there were plenty of opportunities to get him there up to now. And I feel like every day, every week, every month that passes by that it doesn't happen, it becomes clearer and clearer that WWE simply does not see him as somebody who is meant to be in that position, right? He's popular, and I'm sure he sells merch. Obviously, he's not selling the kind of merch that Jey Uso is or Danhausen or any of their top merch sellers. But how much of that is also tied into the fact that over the last few months, they've had fucking nothing for him to do. Only recently did they really give him some more direction where he's going to Adam Pearce. He's complaining about the bloodline. Dude, before that, what was he doing?
Yeah, but is it really direction, though? Where is it going if it's a direction? He's going to end up getting buried anyway. Is he going to beat Jey Uso? Is he going to beat Jacob Fatu?
We don't know, but it clearly there is some direction for it. There is a story they're telling. He's on the show every week, right?
They got to put him on the show every week. What are you going to do, keep him off the show? What?
Of course.
You're going to keep LA Knight off the show?
Why wouldn't they keep LA Knight off the what is stopping them from keeping LA Knight off the show? Dude, we just talked about people that are not on the show. We talked about Ilja Dragunov being gone from the shows. Now, we don't know if that's visa related, but he disappeared. Multiple people on these shows will randomly fucking disappear. Ray Phoenix. Let's talk about Ray Phoenix, okay? Ray Phoenix was on SmackDown on Friday night. He was defending the AAA Cruiserweight Championship. When Ray Phoenix came out and the match began, dude, I could hear the person in the upper deck break wind.
Yes.
That's how fucking quiet it was in that building. These people did not give a shit what Ray Phoenix was doing in the ring on that night. It didn't matter what he or Axiom were doing. Now, as the match went on, there was like a big avalanche Spanish fly, and they did some stuff, and they got the crowd into it. But it was sad. Like, I saw people praising, oh, what a great match. When that match was over, I was filled with sadness because Ray Phoenix is somebody who, I mean, again, you could put his face on the side of a fucking milk cart, and they used to do that sort of thing because he couldn't buy television time. But they put the Cruiserweight title on him in another company, and we're supposed to give a shit? All of a sudden, the fans are supposed to care because he's walking around with a belt from AAA.
No.
Now watch. He beat Axiom. He might be on the show this week. He'll probably wrestle Nathan Frazier this week or next week. And then after that, he'll disappear again. So, yes, to answer your question, WWE does this all the time with people where we're sitting here going, hey, what happened to this person? What happened to that person? How come they're not using this guy? How come they're not using that guy? I don't know why you're so shocked by this. It would be very easy for them to be like, yeah, you know what? We don't have anything for this guy, so we're not going to do anything.
But, bro, you're comparing Ray Phoenix to LA Knight. LA Knight sells a lot more merch than Ray Phoenix does, and he's a top 5 babyface in the industry. Never mind WWE.
I don't know how much merch LA Knight sells. Okay, I don't have access to those numbers at the moment, so where his merch sales stand, I don't know. And I don't care. I don't care about that. Put that on the side. We're just talking about, like, as performers. LA Knight is in a certain role on the show, and that's probably as far as he's going to go, but he does have a direction now, which is more than I could say heading into WrestleMania, for example, or at the beginning of this year. This is what he talked about when he sat down with Chris, and he did that interview with Van Vliet a few weeks ago. He himself brought up the fact that his reactions are not as, I guess, loud as they were. They're still pretty loud. But in his mind, he's the one who's out there. He's like, yeah, my reactions maybe aren't as loud as they used to be because I'm kind of a man without a country. That was the quote, right? He had no direction. You got to at least give him some sort of story direct. I don't know where this story is going, but it's a fucking story. I don't know where it's leading, but it's more than what he had a few months ago. So you can't say he doesn't have a direction. Is it a great direction? Probably not. You and I both know how this is going to end. I say that if he is going to have any shot at even being in that upper mix, it's going to be as a heel. It's not going to be as a babyface. I can understand WWE looking at him and going, his in-ring consistency is not great. Does he botch in matches? Yes. I mean, there's a lot of people that botch. But yes, has he had some unfortunate slip-ups this year in the ring? None worse than the Elimination Chamber when he fell off the top.
There was one on Friday, too, a neck breaker to Royce Keys that looked botched.
But how much of that was him and how much of that was Royce Keys?
I know.
Right? So I know exactly the spot you're talking about. Even in his promos. I mean, if we're going to be cards on the table here, we're both LA Knight fans here, but we could call it spade a spade. LA Knight, I think in his promos, one of the things that he suffers from, he talks so fast that he trips up over his own words.
Yeah.
So in almost every single promo, whether it's a backstage promo, last night, there were times where he just tripped up over his words, he misspoke or whatever. And to me, it wasn't like a big deal. It wasn't like he lost his train of thought and got lost in the middle of the promo. But if that's what WWE is looking at, then okay, I guess that's a black mark against him. Is that enough to say, well, he can't be a world champion one day, or we shouldn't push him at a high level? No, I think that's nonsense. And I said, like, these people that I will see comments of like, oh, his in-ring is terrible. He's a terrible in-ring wrestler. I don't know where this is coming from. he's not the flashiest guy on the roster, but I don't know where this argument started that LA Knight sucks in the ring. He can't wrestle. He can't work and this and that. Like, where is that coming from? I don't see him as being any worse or any better than the average, WWE in-ring wrestler. So to me, that shouldn't be a barrier to him.
These are the same people that say Gunther's boring. I don't take anything that they say seriously.
But I don't the LA Knight stuff. I never really understood. Yeah, I'm not saying that he's like the most exciting guy in the ring, but like he's far from the worst. So I don't understand. We mentioned Jey Uso before. Jey Uso's moveset, it's as basic as it gets. But like, Yeet is over, so he can get by on that. LA Knight in his own way is over. He can go, he'll go like this, and people will go LA Knight. Like he's got his thing too that he does. So I never really understood the whole in-ring thing. But clearly WWE is, they're hesitant to pull the trigger on this guy. And I just think that the longer time goes on, it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. It's not like all of a sudden they're going to say, you know what? This guy, we need to crown this guy as the world heavyweight champion. I don't see it. I know a lot of LA Knight fans out there don't want to hear that. But you just get to a point where it's like, you got to stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? Like, I get the sense from listening to him in that interview that I think he knows that. Like, I don't think he's stupid. I think he also feels the same way. He can't come right out and say it, but you could hear the frustration in his voice. Like what do I have to do? You know what I mean? And so I don't know what else to say.
He's already made Cardinal sin number one. I mean, he doesn't need to make any more mistakes after what he said on Chris Van Vliet. They're going to look at that and say, all right, we're not going to push you now because you went on a public platform like that and complained. So, I mean, that's a big no.
Yeah, but what did he really complain about though? I mean, he could have said a lot worse.
He could have, but
I think he was holding back. Frankly, he was probably holding back in how he really feels.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, I didn't hear anything in that interview that I think was heat worthy. I don't know what will get him heat or not get him heat behind the scenes there, but like there was nothing egregiously bad that he said in the interview, and there was nothing like not factual about what he was saying. Everything he was saying made sense. I need story. I need direction. This is why maybe my reactions are not what they were. Or, in the past, he's commented on Unreal and how unhappy he was when they captured that moment with him in Triple H because he didn't know the cameras were on him. And so he said, from now on, when I go back to Gorilla, I don't talk to anybody. I just get out of there as quickly as possible because I never know if there's a camera on me. He's which is kind of sad when you think about it. But like, so he's very open and honest about some of these things, but I don't think he said anything in there that should get him into any kind of hot water. But you never know what might ruffle people's feathers in that company. You never know.
The littlest of things might ruffle feathers over there. I think someone in creative just doesn't like him for whatever reason. I've always thought that. I feel like he should just ride out his contract and go back to the Indies and do Eli Drake. This is it for him. I know we've talked about it. It's almost become a fucking meme the last 4 years. LA Knight's going to win Money in the Bank. LA Knight's going to win the Royal Rumble. And he's going to win this and that. It's never going to happen. He's never going to win the World Championship. He's never going to wrestle Roman Reigns. He's never going to be Cody Rhodes. It's over. Like, I've given up. He's just a good hand, and that's what they think of him as. But these segments with the Usos and these segments with the Bloodline, you physically see the frustration written all over his face. You hear the frustration in what he says. Like, you can really kind of pick apart what he's saying and say, yep, that's a shoot. That's exactly how he feels, and he's turning it into, this frustration for the camera, for the storyline. I thought what they did last night was great television. And they've been some of the best segments the last 2 or 3 weeks on Monday Night Raw. Him and Jimmy, him and Jey, all three of them. Where do you think this goes? Does this lead to LA Knight and Jacob Fatu now that Jacob Fatu had to put LA Knight down last night at the request of Roman? Or are we looking at, and we've been there, done that with that as well, when they feuded over the United States title, or are we looking at LA Knight and Jey Uso one-on-one? Because they have to do something at SummerSlam, don't you think?
Well, I mean, I would be surprised if we don't get LA Knight and Jacob, even like a TV match or...
Yeah.
I mean, they could even do something at Night of Champions if they wanted to. So I'm sure we're going to get that match at some point, and maybe we'll get LA Knight and Jey Uso as well. I don't know what he's going to be doing at SummerSlam. I don't know that they know what he's going to be doing at SummerSlam. Is he going to be at SummerSlam? We don't know. Again, there's only so many matches that they have on these cards. I'm not even sure he factors into that. So I don't know. I'm kind of with you. I don't know what the end game is going to be here. He's not somebody who's going to end up if you can't beat him, join him, and he's going to join the bloodline. Like, that's not going to happen. So what is the end goal here? I don't know. I just remember when he was still on SmackDown, and it was just him and the MFTs, like, all the time. And I'm like, for the love of God, please get this man off the show. And they finally did, and now he's in the bloodline vortex again, with no real good ending, I think, for him that could come out of this. And there's no real alternative. Like, do you move him back to SmackDown? Because the MFTs are still over there on SmackDown. I don't know where the best place is for him. But I still feel like he might have the best shot as a heel. I feel like as a babyface, he probably just hit his ceiling, and there's only so much that they're going to do with him unless they have a need for a heel. Then maybe they could plug him in there.
I see some of the chat saying LA Knight costing Jey Uso on Friday. You think that's a possibility, or we are?
Sure. It's possible. It's possible. Look, we didn't talk about this backstage segment last night where Roman leaned into Jacob and said he needed him to do one more thing for him.
Yeah.
And he leaned in, and to me, now he told him to kill him. I could read his lips. The only question is, who is he saying to kill? I could have sworn that before that, he said Seth Rollins. I thought I heard him say Seth Rollins' name. I don't know what sense that would make. Maybe he was referring to somebody else. So I thought he was going to come out and attack Oba before the show was over. I thought it was leading to something at the end of the show, and then it didn't lead to anything. So Jey has a match on SmackDown this Friday. It could be Javon. Does Roman want Jacob to take out Jey's competition to send him to the finals? Did he tell him to do that not this week, but in the finals and attack whoever Jey is going to wrestle there?
Yeah.
I don't know. But there was part of me that thought maybe he was referring to Oba last night just because Roman doesn't want to have to wrestle Oba at SummerSlam, and it was kind of the beginning of something with the two of them, and then, again, nothing happened. So that's something to watch out for. He told Jacob to go kill him, and we don't know who that him is.
Did he say that? I don't think I heard him say anything. I heard him lean in and whisper something, but did he say that? Did you lip read?
If you read his lips, he said kill him.
Okay, I gotta go back and watch. I didn't really think much of it to read his lips on that, but
could be wrong about hearing the name Seth Rollins right before that, but I definitely read his lips after that, and he said kill him.
Well, that's going to lead to something for sure. I mentioned the same thing. I said maybe he takes out Javon. Maybe he tells Jacob to wait till Saudi Arabia because he's not going to be there to go take out whoever Jey is wrestling. I don't know. So I did say that same thing on my end on my review. Speaking of the bloodline, we'll keep with the bloodline stuff. Rollins had a very important note here on Raw as well. The opening segment went 31 minutes. We got Jacob Fatu receiving, quote-unquote, an Fala from now Roman's now every week secretary. Did you get a name for this guy? The chat with the chat, Jason, the chat was telling me his name is Lard. Is that his name?
I thought that's what I heard. And I said, what a terrible name. So I first of all, I hope the guy's name, I hope they're not calling him Lard. I thought it was Lord. So I asked my chat last night. I said, chat, you got to help me out. What the fuck did he call this guy? And everybody, it was 50-50. Half the people said Mark, and then the other half said Lord. And so what I ended up doing, I just put the two of them together, and I said, okay, from now on, he is Lord Mark. And that's what we'll call this man. And so I don't know if his role is to be the new Heyman, like he's going to be the new wise man, only just not as wise, or if this was just a 1 week thing. I guess we'll see if he shows up next week or whenever Roman is back on TV again. But yeah, I thought maybe Lard, but I mean, who would name their child Lard, for Christ's sake? Like
Lard Uso.
I think it was. We'll call him Lord Mark until we get clarification of what this guy's name is.
I thought I heard Lard. I'm like, are you serious? They named him after a rendered semi-solid white fat of a pig, is what they named this guy after.
It was just so random. Like, he's in the middle of the ring and he just goes, Lord. I'm like, what the fuck? What did he say? And then this like random white guy just walks over with a box, and I'm like, at first I thought it was the timekeeper, whose name is Berkeley, because it's Tugboat, Typhoon's son. And then I realized, no, it's a different guy. But then he popped up again backstage, and he was like taking dictation from Roman.
Yeah.
Roman was like giving him marching orders, and I'm like, is this guy going to be a permanent part of the show from now on? Or I don't know.
Lord. I don't know. We got to get a name for this guy. Yeah,
Lord Mark.
He's
Lord Mark.
he's an every week thing now. He's the guy that Roman sees upon entering the garage. He hands him the title every week. So. We have to get a name for this guy. But 31 minutes for this opening segment where Jacob Fatu got this quote-unquote Ula Fala, and he welcomed him into the Bloodline. The Usos are arguing back and forth, and there's some sort of jealousy there. Jimmy put the one up. Jey was hesitant to put the one up. He eventually put the one up, and the Bloodline are walking out of the ring, Jason, and Roman sees Eric Andre, who apparently stars with him in Street Fighter, and apparently has this Netflix thing with John Cena, this movie coming out on Netflix with John Cena, and he walks by, he gives Eric Andre a handshake, and then Jimmy says same thing, he gives him a handshake. Jey looks at him, he just stares at him and walks away. Then Jacob Fatu does the same thing, he looks at him, but Eric Andre ends up patting Jacob Fatu on the back. He physically touched Jacob Fatu, and then he touched the Ula Fala. And then at this point, Jacob Fatu launches him over the barricade, throws him around a little bit, throws him in the ring, starts giving him a bunch of headbutts, and then goes off the top rope to deliver a Fatu splash. Roman gets in there and says no, and then gives the okay to jump off the top rope. Not once, but twice. And Eric Andre got 2 splashes. Now, I don't know what you thought about this. Obviously, this is just Netflix slop and then promoting this John Cena movie with Eric Andre. It factored into nothing. It's not going to lead into anything. But what we're seeing is WWE commercialize the Bloodline because they want to sell a movie on Netflix while also rerunning the same angle that they ran with Sami Zayn and Jey Uso before, Solo Sikoa, before, now with Jacob Fatu. He was given an Ula Fala. What do you make of this segment?
It felt more to me like the Daniel Bryan Wyatt stuff is what's going on here with Jacob and Roman. Or at least that may be the kind of payoff we end up getting from these two, where he's under Roman's thumb. And so now he's, basically his not errand boy, but basically his
servant.
His servant, his lapdog. He has to kind of carry out his marching orders for him. The Eric Andre thing, I mean, yeah, they were promoting the stupid Netflix thing, but like they've done angles like that before where the celebrity gets his ass kicked. I mean, it was fine. It was kind of funny because the second time when Roman told him go back and do it again and everybody popped, like they wanted him to kill this fucking guy. There was no sympathy.
Have you ever heard an Eric Andre comedic stand-up segment or no?
No, I haven't.
Some people are saying he's funny. I don't know.
I know who he is, and I can't really tell you anything specific of his that stands out to me or anything. Apparently in the Street Fighter movie, he is like a hype man, like an MC. I guess that's his role in the film. I knew he wasn't one of the fighters, so I was like, what?
I thought he was one of the fighters. Who was he going to be?
Why would he be one of the fighters?
What
fighter would he be?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
What Street Fighter character would he even remotely resemble?
I don't know. I haven't played the later games. I don't know who they added and who they've omitted. I don't know.
He's definitely not. He's not Guile. He's not.
Maybe he's not Vega, is he?
No, he's not Vega. Not M. Bison. It's not Blanca.
I didn't even know he was in the movie. Apparently, he's in the movie.
He's like an MC, ring announcer, hype man type of role.
The Eric Andre show is hilarious. All right. Well, I grew up in a day and age with comedians that probably would get canceled yesterday if they did stand up today. So I don't know how funny he is and where he is doing stand up, but apparently people like him. So that was the opening segment there. Yeah, I could see the correlations between the Wyatt stuff and Bryan Danielson. I could see that. I mean, it's never going to achieve that, but. I mean, regardless, we've been there, done that. It's all a retread. So what are we doing? Are you thinking that Jacob Fatu is eventually going to break free and become his own man? And
he's going to usurp Roman when Roman goes away.
Well, now, go ahead.
It could happen. I don't know if it'll happen this soon, but it could happen as soon as SummerSlam if Roman is really going to go away for a few months.
Yeah. Well,
it's possible.
Well, Roman did mention a bunch of the Bloodline family. He mentioned Yokozuna. He mentioned Rikishi. He mentioned the Wild Samoans. He mentioned Umaga main eventing WrestleMania, which I had to go back and think. I'm like, he never main evented WrestleMania. What was he talking about? But WWE likes to rewrite their history, so I'm not surprised. The one name he omitted from this I don't know if you talked about this on your end. He didn't mention The Rock. Now, was that by design, or was it just something that people are making a big deal out of? Because clearly, if you're not mentioning The Rock and the Bloodline that you're mentioning down the list, I mean, you got to mention him. He's the most important figure in the entire fucking family.
Yeah, I didn't even pay any really mind to it, honestly. So I have stopped. I've stopped trying to prognosticate on a potential Rock return because it's just a pointless exercise at this point. People are going to read into this stuff. Ooh, is that a little hint of something? Like, maybe yes, maybe no. I don't think they know one way or the other what his status is going to be from 1 month to the next. So maybe it was done by design in case they want to come back around to it at some point. But I didn't even think of The Rock.
Well, apparently Rock is going to be a busy man. Apparently, according to Coach today, he's going to be traveling to every continent promoting Moana.
Yeah, I went to the movies last week and I saw the trailer, and it looks terrible. I'm sorry, he looks absolutely ridiculous.
Wow.
And yeah, that's not on my watch list of things to go see.
Nah.
But I'm not the target demographic for that movie either. I know Moana, like the cartoon, the animated version, very popular. Who's the main character? The main female character? What's her name? Is it Moana?
You're asking me like I know this information, man.
I mean, he's not Moana.
Well,
right?
listen, man, I know my Blueies and my Sesame Streets, but you're asking me a completely different thing here, man.
I assume the girl is Moana, and so I don't know what his name is. But the live action version and just the way he's all like dressed up, he just looks completely ridiculous.
Now I gotta look it up. What's the cast name of Moana? Moana.
What is
cast.
his name? What is the Rock's character's name?
Maui.
Oh, okay, right. So she's Moana, he's Maui. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Catherine Laga. I don't know what her name is. Frankie Adams is Cena. And this guy looks like fucking Haku here. Chief Tuai. Grammatala. I don't know. I don't know any of these characters. This is a whole new fucking demographic.
Sounds like the MFTs.
They all look like they should be in Moana for sure. That's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah. I got that from the trailer as well. But I just think like the movie, I'm sure it'll make a gazillion dollars. All the kids will go see it and it'll be like, Maui, whatever. But yeah, it looks terrible. So he's going to be promoting that. I don't know if he has any other movies though that are in the works that he's.
What isn't he doing that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio?
I thought there was some Scorsese movie, but I don't know. Was it progressed to the production?
I don't know. I don't know. Wasn't he doing Chicken Man or Lizard Man, whatever he was doing?
What?
That's the movie he was doing.
Oh.
Lizard Man, Chicken Man.
No. I think it was Chicken Man. Hold on, Chicken Man Rock. Let's see.
Where he lost an exorbitant amount of weight, and people were like, "What happened to Dwayne?" And everybody was clickbaiting the shit out of Dwayne Johnson and his weight loss.
Oh yeah. No, it's called the movie is called Lizard Music. Oh no, that's not it. Never mind. No, it is Lizard Music, and he plays the Chicken Man. But it's in pre-production, so there's no information on when it's actually going to be filming.
All right, well, we'll see. The Academy Award Golden Globe thing for The Rock is on his bucket list, so he's going to keep trying at that.
Yeah, he's very upset that he didn't win for Smashing Machine.
I haven't seen it. I got to watch it. I mean, by the trailer and the previews, it looked good, and it looks like he put a lot of work into it. But I don't know, man. We'll see what happens with Dwayne. We got Moana, and he was not mentioned by Roman last night on Raw. Timer showed up for StreamYard, so keep an eye out for that, so we don't get blitzed over here. Javon Evans, he rejects the vision. That happened on Raw last night, literally out of nowhere. I don't know what the whole deal was. Logan Paul came back. Apparently, he is going to be on TV from this point on, even though injured, which I actually like. I wish they would do this with more. So we'll see what happens with Logan Paul.
All right, well, so if JD is the promoter, we know how he's dealing with it. He's getting on the phone. How's the arm feeling? Well, I don't know. I just had surgery. Good. You can get your ass on the road. We'll see you at TV next week.
Oh, the Vision's down Bronson Reed and Paul Heyman, so they got to do something.
Well, Bronson Reed, from everything I've seen online, he's really gotten himself into the best shape I've ever seen him in.
I don't even think we're going to recognize Bronson Reed when he does get back to television. That's how much weight he's like. He looks great.
He shouldn't be too far off, I think, from a return. So they should get him back soon, and they won't have the Vision at full strength, but at least they'll get some other big name back that they could kind of work into the maybe he'll feud with LA Knight. Who the hell knows?
God, I mean, can you imagine him going back to that?
I mean, he did squash LA Knight on top of the card that time.
He did. They didn't finish that, but I mean that's a good segue here. Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins were announced last night in a steel cage match for Night of Champions. No championships on the line, but we're doing a steel cage match at Night of Champions. Do we see Bronson Reed return in Saudi Arabia here to help Braun Breaker beat Seth Rollins, or is Rollins going to win and then get the championship match against Roman?
Well, I mean, it's a cage match. So the whole point of a cage match, JD, is that nobody can interfere. That's why the cage is there.
Pardon me. I didn't know that was the rules and the specifications of a steel cage match.
That's how pro wrestling works. If there's a cage there, then that means nobody can get in and nobody can. Well, I mean, you can technically get out, but it's supposed to prevent people from getting in. I mean, I'm not expecting him to be there. I'm not sure he's ready necessarily to come back yet. Like it's going to happen this month. I still look at that match as a kind of a de facto number one contenders match where I feel like the winner, and I think it's going to be Rollins, but I feel like the winner who comes out of it will be the one to challenge Roman for the world title at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel.
If
it's going to be Seth, then he's got to win that match.
Well, they got Braun Breaker acting as a tag team specialist alongside Austin Theory, so hopefully they realize that he could also do the tag team thing and the singles thing at the same time.
Well, no, I don't think he should be doing the tag team thing. So, look, that's the other match they've signed for Raw next week in London. We're going to have Breaker and Theory defending the tag team titles against the Street Profits.
Yeah.
Because Angelo Dawkins came back last night. I think we get a title change.
I hope so.
I think we get a title change in that match, and I think Seth Rollins is going to do to Breaker what Breaker did to him. Breaker cost him a King of the Ring spot, and I think Seth gives it right back to him and cost them the tag team titles.
Love it. Makes sense.
My prediction.
It's consistency. Love it. Let's do it. So that was that. And then the last thing here from Raw, Chad Gable. He wrestled Rusev. What'd you make of this Nickelback-like new theme for Chad Gable?
I mean, this AI-generated generic rock slop that they have given him.
I couldn't tell the difference from the AI songs that I used on my stream with Chad Gable. Bro, it almost sounded like the same vocalist that I see all across these AI songs.
I think it might be. You know what? Believe it or not, I've heard worse on these shows. It might fit somebody else. It doesn't fit Chad Gable.
No.
I said on my stream last night, this sounds like something Rick Boogs would have come to the ring to,
yes.
but not Chad Gable. It does not work for him. Did you notice before the match, by the way, when he got in the ring, I don't know if this was during a commercial, what he was doing in the ring, he was like going like this, trying to hype up the crowd as the music played, like trying to hype, I don't know, to the beat or whatever. And I'm like, this is not going to work.
No, I tell you, it's funny you mentioned that. You know what else is not going to work? I was thinking about this last night. They have Chad Gable out here being very apologetic and very very good to the baby faces. He's like soft. He's saying he's sorry. He's on this apology tour. I don't know how you feel about it. Do you have a problem with the way they've booked Chad Gable as far as him saying I'm sorry and this kind of intensity that is seemingly missing from Chad Gable? I hope that they don't turn him into a babyface that's like goody two shoes and take his intensity away. Like, what'd you think of how he came off last night?
I'm not going to judge it too harshly right now because he's still, I kind of look at it like he's in a 12-step program. He's still kind of in the middle of this where he's trying to make amends with the people that he's wronged. And they're certainly teasing that he's going to make amends with Alpha Academy. My real concern is I would not have any sort of consistent like relationship between the two. Like I don't want him back with Alpha Academy because it's beneath him at this point. So we're still kind of in the early phases of him going through this. As long as like he gets it out of his system, I think the intensity will come, especially if like they set him up for a big match at SummerSlam. That's my concern right now. Like you can't go to SummerSlam in Minneapolis and not have him in what for him would be a big match on the show. And the match would make sense to me would be Penta for the Intercontinental title. That should be the match at SummerSlam. And getting the belt on him, to me, that should be the priority. So I wouldn't call him a goody two shoes. I just think he's trying to make amends. It's admirable and that's fine. But if he's still doing this in 2 months, then yeah, I would be concerned about that. But I don't think it's going to go for that long.
All right. I hope not. I love intense Chad Gable. So hopefully the plan is for him to gain back that intensity and get an IC title match at SummerSlam.
And I love what they did last night with Rusev, because there was a point in the match where Rusev got him in the accolade in the middle of the ring. And if this was Chad Gable from 2 years ago, like he would have been tapping out.
Yeah.
I thought for sure he was going to tap out there. I said, "Oh, here we go with the, typical WWE. They want to let's beat him for a while and then we'll build him back up." And so he got out of the accolade and then he tapped out Rusev, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is good."
Yeah, but then you got some people snickering. "Oh, I don't believe they tapped out the Bulgarian Brute." I'm like, it's Chad fucking Gable. Give me a break.
You know what? I got news for you people. Okay, I got news for you. Here's the thing. People need to get beat on these shows to help get other people over. And this is something that we see in WWE far too much, where they're afraid to beat certain people. Rusev has not been pushed at a level where they're going to be concerned about protecting him. But Rusev losing one match is not going to be the end of Rusev. And it's going to mean a hell of a lot more if somebody like him goes in there and actually taps out to Chad Gable, where people are like, holy shit, they tapped him out. It's going to mean a hell of a lot more for Chad Gable than him getting a fucking slip on a banana peel, outside distraction, fluky pin. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't get anybody over. These are the types of wins that we need to see more of. Not just with Chad Gable, but with other people on the show as well.
Yeah.
Rusev, I got news for you. I don't know what people are expecting out of Rusev in WWE. Rusev is exactly where Rusev is going to be. And his role last night was to give Chad Gable a tough match, but in the end, tap out and put him over. And that's what he did. And I'd love to see that. My takeaway was not, oh my God, I can't believe they beat Rusev. Well, then who would you like Chad Gable to go in there and beat? Who should he beat? Should he beat some scrub who has no credibility whatsoever? It's like we joked about that with Roosh in AEW, where he beat 6 or 7 guys in a row to get a world championship match. And I'm like, yeah, but he beat 6 or 7 scrubs that you and I don't even know. So it's like, is that supposed to be impressive?
No, I agree that we need to hand out wins and losses with no hesitation.
Yeah, at least everybody's a name afraid. that people know. Yeah. Like, again, how much credibility you feel Rusev has right now is debatable, but he is a name who you normally would not see tapping out or giving up to somebody. So it meant something. I'm not going to criticize that. We need more of that.
I got to call this out in the chat. And NM, come on, bro. He's like, keep that same energy for Tony Khan solo.
Yeah, fuck off. Clearly doesn't listen to my fucking reviews.
Oh man, the problem is across. The problem is across. We're gonna get into that. The problem is across all social media, or not social media, but all of pro wrestling, because Tony Khan and Triple H are afraid to beat top guys or just their favorites. Rusev, like Jason said, perfectly said, he's where he's gonna be, and he's not gonna be any higher than that. And he's lucky he's on TV. He's lucky he made the past the budget cuts. Is basically, and that may be harsh to some, but seeing who they released, he's lucky he still has a job. And Charlotte Flair beat Roxanne Perez. They just did this to kind of build to what's happening on Friday. They sold Charlotte Flair's hand. Roxanne said she was going to soften up Charlotte for Liv Morgan on Friday. There was a little bit too much selling of the hand, but Charlotte ended up tapping Roxanne out in 10 minutes to the figure 8. So we'll see what happens with Charlotte and Liv on Friday. And that's all the WWE television news. Danhausen. There was news on Danhausen. As you guys know, he was on the show. Both Dominic, J.D. McDonough, and Liv Morgan all tried to coerce Danhausen into cursing Oba Femi for human monies. Danhausen also wanted an appearance in Liv Morgan's music video and actually wanted songs to be written about Danhausen. None of that came to fruition, though. But there is news in regards to Danhausen and the New York Knicks. He's going to be at the parade. And then WWE is clearly building towards something at Madison Square Garden with Saturday night's main event. Danhausen, obviously a celebrity in New York City now, as he uncursed the Knicks. They went on that huge run, won the championship. They are excited about the buzz associated with Danhausen and the Knicks. There are already discussions on how to use Danhausen at MSG for Saturday night's main event. In addition, Fightful is told that there are already plans being brainstormed, additional content on the way, new merch on the way for Danhausen at Fanatics Fest, which is the same weekend as Saturday night's main event. That takes place at the Javits Center that weekend, Fanatics Fest. One WWE source said they expect to make Danhausen a fixture, Jason, for the promotion of the promotion in New York moving forward. Now that the Knicks are the NBA champions.
Well, they would be crazy not to. I mean, can you imagine them not having him on that Madison Square Garden show?
No. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see at least some of the lower end guys on the Knicks. Maybe we see Brunson.
No,
on the
I
Knicks.
think we got to see Brunson there.
Okay.
Man. I think Brian Alvarez said they have one New York Knick locked in, and they're going to try to get more. They're going to try to get the head coach. We've seen Brunson on WWE television before. We know he's a fan.
Yeah.
So if I had to guess who that Knick is that they've locked in, I don't know, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was him.
We got to get James Dolan there too, shaking Danhausen's hand and thanking him for the contribution.
Yeah, we don't need Dolan.
All right, I don't know.
Not necessary. I still have. Well, that goes back to my days of being a Cablevision subscriber. I'm not a Jim Dolan guy.
Okay.
But yeah. So look, to not have him on that show would be crazy. He's gonna get. I said he's gonna get like an Austin level pop when they hit his music and he comes out. So yeah, I mean, look, you got to capitalize on this. I saw some comments like, "Oh, of course, WWE is trying to." Well, of course. Why wouldn't they, dude? Like, in the past, in situations like this, I'll never forget it with the whole RKO out of nowhere craze years ago. They were so late to jump on that, like, with merch, that by the time they got, like, a T-shirt out for it, like, it was already over. Like, the craze had run its course. I'm like, what the hell took them so long? Like, you got to be on the ball with that shit. So if I'm WWE, first of all, I'm loving all this publicity, number one. And number two, it's not going to last forever. You got to take advantage of that stuff. Like, this guy is in demand. Well, I can't imagine how many cameo requests he's getting right now.
He's got to be at the top of the list on the whole fucking website. What do you think about him leaving AEW? Do you think that he thought coming to WWE that he would be where he is right now, only 3 or 4 months into his run here?
No, I don't think nobody did. Nobody did. WWE didn't. He didn't. There's not a prayer.
What do you think Tony Khan's thinking?
Yeah, I've thought about that because I've seen some people be like, oh, big fumble by Tony Khan. Honestly, here's the reality of it. If Danhausen would have stayed in AEW, none of this would happen.
No.
It's not as if, well, Tony Khan never should have let him go. Tony Khan, it was very clear Tony Khan was not going to use Danhausen. That's why Danhausen wanted to leave. Right? He was benched. He wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, but he was cursing people in AEW too. It just didn't.
And nobody gave a shit.
Nobody gave a shit. No.
Nobody cared because, again, in AEW, he's not going to have the platform that he had. He's going on fucking ESPN, dude, and doing stuff with angles with Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah,
those are through WWE's connections. They have a business relationship with ESPN. Tony Khan doesn't have that. AEW doesn't have that. So the platform that Danhausen has been given, he never would have had that if he would have stayed in AEW. I said that, and I said this before he ever left. He was always going to be a better fit in WWE than he was in AEW. It never felt like he fit what AEW was, right? You have some silly stuff they do, but he fits perfectly into this whole like sports entertainment world that exists in this company. So I always figured he would have success, but I never imagined it would be anything like this, and not within his first couple of months in the company. I mean, you can't tell me anybody predicted that.
Nobody predicted that. I'm actually shocked that it's gotten to the levels that it has. I thought he would just be a fixture in a very comedic, R-Truth-like way on the show, yet he's now the new fucking king in New York.
He's all over the place.
And he's taking photographs with Cardi B, and
yeah,
he's all over the place.
Cardi B and Ben Stiller and a whole bunch of other people, and soon we'll have undead Baron Corbin probably popping up from under the white sheet with the bolts in his neck as he rises from the dead.
I don't know, man. That creative may end up killing him all over again. If there's one thing that's going to kill him, it'll be the creative.
You know what, though? As over as Danhausen is, I'm telling you, man, this actually, it could work.
I am never going to doubt Danhausen again. That's what I've surmised out of all this.
Corbin may end up, we're assuming it's him. Corbin may end up being more over with this stupid gimmick, depending on how they play it out, than he ever was in WWE before.
At this rate, can you blame him for taking this spot? No. I mean, he's going to be in the biggest position he's ever been in after everything he's done with Danhausen. if that's the case. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's the WWE stuff. The AEW stuff, not really much to talk about, but there is a minor news and note here on Jack Perry, and then we'll get into a little bit of Dynamite and then get to your Super Chats. Jack Perry apparently is negotiating a new AEW contract. There was talk that he and Anna Jay, his girlfriend Anna Jay, could end up in WWE together, but I mean, with CM Punk, with him posting pictures of the bridges actually burned with CM Punk, I don't think Punk is going to okay a Jack Perry move into WWE, even if it's NXT. Maybe Anna Jay, but not Jack Perry. But apparently his contract is coming up. He's negotiating a new contract. This is coming from Brian Alvarez. Perry's deal has expired and talks are ongoing. So that's the speculation there. He was in the Owen, and he lost to Mark Davis in the first round. There was also a news and note here as far as Jack Perry. Apparently, Jason, instead of Jungle Boy's Baltimore theme Tarzan Boy, they were thinking about giving him Alice in Chains' Them Bones. That was heavily considered and even planned for Jack Perry's theme when he got back to the company. Now, I don't think Jack Perry can make Them Bones cool. I don't know how you feel about that.
Look, I have a soft spot for Baltimore, so I would have been very upset if they would have changed from that. I'm glad they didn't.
Okay, well, Them Bones is a banger. I got it.
I don't think Jack Perry and Alice in Chains though.
No, he's not cool enough for it. No,
I don't associate the two of them. So I'm glad that they didn't go in that direction.
I don't know why that was a news article. That was on Fightful, but anything is news nowadays with how slow it is. As far as slow, Dynamite, they called this summer blockbuster. It was anything but a summer blockbuster. This was a box office flop, if you ask me. We'll start
not as much as Masters of the Universe.
Well, it's right in the same boat. I'll leave it at that. We started with Tommaso Ciampa and Chris Jericho. This to me was
terrible.
This was painful to sit through. Bro, why are they feuding? Are they really feuding Jericho with all the baldies? And did Ciampa give a reason why he doesn't like Jericho?
Probably on Collision. But like, look, I don't mind them. I don't mind them feuding. I think the eventual match will be good. I just like the dialogue and like what they were doing in the ring. It was just so Tommy's mommy. Like, what the fuck? Like, what are we doing here? Like, I guess it was supposed to be funny and it just fell flat. And I'm like, this is not good.
I don't know. I don't know. Does it happen at Forbidden Door or on Dynamite?
Probably Forbidden Door. I would think they would want Jericho on the show.
Okay. All right. We got to fill that card up somehow. Maybe that's the way they do it. Jon Moxley and Shane Taylor, Continental Championship. Any thoughts on the Death Riders now feuding with Shane Taylor Promotions out of nowhere, heading into Forbidden Door? I thought we were better than this.
I mean, I thought it was just a way to get a collision match out of it, right? Because they were hyping up that they were going to have a multi-man match on Collision, and then that would be the end of it.
Well, you see, there was an eight-man tag team or 8-person tag team match on Collision. That's what I mean.
Yeah. So I just thought it was a way to get that kind of out of the way, and then it's not like the Shane Taylor Promotions group is going to be feuding with the Death Riders for weeks and weeks.
I don't know why.
Look, I honestly, I thought that they were in Cincinnati, and I know Moxley's from Cincinnati, and apparently Shane Taylor is also from Ohio. So
Cleveland.
I just thought they were throwing him a bone, and because they taped Collision at the same venue, I think, the next night. So I just thought it was a way to get him kind of like a hometown boy kind of thing on the show, and it's just like a 1-week thing, and that's it. I don't think there's anything more to it than that.
All right. Well, post-match, Charlie Bravo and
Carly.
Carly. I thought it was Charlie. Sorry, I apologize. Trish Adora, Lee Moriarty out there. The infantry was out there. I thought I was watching Collision on Wednesday. I'm like,
that's what the first like hour or 90 minutes of the show felt like.
I'm so glad I tuned into Saturday's Collision on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. Collision. The first
why
hour.
Why Shane Taylor's getting an AW Continental title match? Only Tony Khan knows. I mean, it was just a waste of time. Mercedes had a video package saying that she is going to come back, and the CEO always collects. She's got her match on Wednesday with Hazuki. That's taking place. I'm assuming we're all thinking Monet is going to win and advance to the finals. Jet calls out MJF. Apparently, Jason, Kevin Knight wants MJF. Andrade wants MJF for a world title match. But we have MJF now. We're all thinking that, we were all thinking, I should say, that MJF was going to get Mark Briscoe at Forbidden Door. Now, Briscoe wrestled Pac on the show. He beat Pac. And then he said that he had run an idea by Tony Khan and it was approved. Apparently, it's going to be Mark Briscoe and the conglomeration against MJF and five guys, which ended up being the Don Callis family.
Well, we don't know. We don't know if it's going to be Briscoe and all conglomeration members or just one or two of them. I would be surprised if Darby Allin doesn't end up as one of his partners, right? You would think Darby would be on his team, especially with Kevin Knight on the opposing side. So they may work one or two other names in there.
Okay.
Maybe they could even throw a New Japan name in there. It is fucking Forbidden Door.
Is it?
I don't know. Sometimes I have to remind myself, is that what this show is? So, yeah, so here's what they're doing. They're going to reveal all the members tomorrow night, and they're doing a 12-man tag on the show. They're giving the match away. What? Without the cage. Yes, there's a 12-man tag team match with all 12, whoever the 12 people are going to be.
You got
tomorrow night.
You got to be fucking kidding me.
Look it up. Look it up. I'm pretty sure that they made that official.
Oh my god.
Yes, they're giving it away.
All right, so you may be correct. I think that makes sense to have Darby and some New Japan people on the team for Briscoe. MJF is going to choose at his discretion members of the Don Callis family because he offered Don Callis and the family a whole briefcase of money. So Kevin Knight wants to be on the team. MJF said that he was definitely going to keep him in consideration. I'm assuming he'll choose Okada and Fletcher and Andrade and a bunch of guys there. That makes up a great team for MJF. He buys his way into the main event. The thing is, and I'm curious to see what you think about this, MJF told Jet, Kevin Knight, that he's going to give him a championship match after he gets done with this match at Forbidden Door. But this is the last time. If you lose, no more championship matches. Do you think, because me and Jesse talked about this, do you think that this is going to work as a negative? Because if you want to build Kevin Knight up as this new heel that's now led by Don Callis, you're feuding him with the top heel in the business, an MJF. Doesn't that adversely affect Kevin Knight's heel run if you're feuding him with another heel? What exactly are they trying to accomplish there?
Well, you're not feuding him with another heel. It's going to be one match at the most. So,
but it doesn't make sense.
I don't disagree. Why are you doing heel on heel stuff?
I don't know. I don't know. We talked about that.
Why does Kevin Knight feel the need to join the Don Callis family when Don Callis hasn't managed a world champion in this company in 5 fucking years?
I don't know.
What's so special about joining the Don Callis family that he feels like he can't do it on his own?
I don't know. As far as the world championship, I know Andrade's probably on his way out of the Don Callis family with all the neglect that he's feeling now because he hasn't gotten a championship opportunity. But I don't know. Speaking of the world championship, this is another thing I mentioned. And I'm not sure if you mentioned it on your end. Mark Briscoe needs to go through hoops to get a championship match here, this steel cage match. Meanwhile, we just got done for the month of May with Darby Allin giving championship match. And I know what people are going to say. Well, he's a fighting champion, JD. Well, but he gave title matches to Speedball, Sammy Guevara, Tommaso Ciampa. Why does Mark Briscoe have to go through hoops, but those other guys didn't?
Well, see, okay, so I'm gonna counter with this. I wouldn't use Darby Allin. I think that's a bad example because Darby was a babyface. It wasn't an open challenge per se, but yes, that was his gimmick where he was going to just defend it every single week against a different person, and that was a Darby thing. The example I would use is Roosh. And as I said before, like Roosh, yes, he beat a bunch of guys in the lead up to this, but they were nobodies. And MJF just gave him a world title match, and apparently Tony Khan was okay with this. So if it's that easy for Roosh to get a world championship match on TV last week, then why does Mark Briscoe have to jump through hoops when he has a pay-per-view pinfall win over MJF? Like, he's in the back talking to Tony Khan, and I don't know, was it Tony's idea or did he pitch it to Tony? I don't know. They kind of came in mid-conversation. But it may have been Mark Briscoe's idea to do this match with the idea that if his team wins, he gets a title shot. But you mean to tell me he can't just go to Tony Khan and say, Tony, I think I deserve a championship match? And Tony wouldn't just be like, I agree. Okay, you get a title match. Like, why do we have to go through this whole rigmarole? Well, there's a very good answer for it. What I think it is. I think MJF is hurt, and he's not in a position to do a singles match. I think he hyperextended his knee, and so he's going to wrestle, but doing this 12-man, 6-on-6 clusterfuck cage match is a way to sort of protect him because he's going to be one of, a dozen people that are in the ring. until his knee gets a little bit better, they're not in a position to put him in a singles match. It could be that that's what's going on here. They're trying to kind of shield him by doing this.
That makes sense.
It makes sense. I'm still not a fan of it. And because, look, this is the second year in a row now that we're doing this. Last year, they closed Forbidden Door with a 5-on-5, 10-man cage match. Now, that one was unsanctioned, so they were able to do all the sort of violence and gore and blood and plunder and everything in that match. And I remember watching that, and I wasn't a fan of that either.
No, me either.
And so here we are a year later, and I'm really hoping this is not going to become the annual thing that we do at Forbidden Door, where we're going to close with a big fucking clusterfuck cage match here. But this is the second year in a row that they're doing this, and I'm not a fan of it. If they're doing it to protect MJF, then whatever. I mean, I guess that's what they came up with, but I don't have to like it. I'm not a big fan of doing this. I just think even if you try to look at it from the perspective of how do you make sense of it, to me, it just doesn't even make sense that he would even have to do this. But that would at least explain why they don't want to do one-on-one. What I hope is that they're not saving the one-on-one match for Redemption.
That's what my next question was. Where do we do that match?
You do it on TV. You do it on TV. They have all of these themed episodes of Dynamite. They got one coming up from the beach.
Yeah.
I think in Florida next. Do it on one of those shows.
Yeah, I agree.
Because to me, MJF against Mark Briscoe, that is not a pay-per-view main event. I'm sorry. No. It's not. And they're dropping too many clues and hints about Kenny Omega, in my opinion, for it to be anybody but him.
I'm assuming you saw Kenny Omega's promo on Collision on Twitter.
I saw well, not only that, but if you look on social media, I think Omega and maybe Ospreay, they've been posting those images. It's like an image of them sitting in the trainer's room, like in the back.
Yeah.
Like, that's being done for a reason.
I don't know.
Clearly.
We're clearly headed towards that match for All In.
Yeah, I mean, or again, maybe MJF is in there too. But like, Omega, to me, you're doing Redemption next month. Like, he's got to be the guy in that spot. So you could do MJF and Briscoe on television at some point next month.
Yeah.
But the bigger issue here is Forbidden Door. And Forbidden Door, at one time there was a novelty to it. It's like the bloom has been off that rose now for a few years. Like, it jumped the shark a long time ago because the novelty wears off after a while. When you have Forbidden Door every week, and like, dude, we watch these shows every week. If it's not somebody from New Japan, it's CMLL. If it's not CMLL, then it's Stardom. And that's great. I like the collaboration. I think wrestling is at its best when you have collaboration between different promotions. I wish there was more of it with the two big ones, but that's never going to happen. So I think that's great. But what it does is it takes away from the idea that, okay, we could do this Forbidden Door show. And it's the same thing every year. New Japan has this Dominion show, which is one of their big shows every year. It just happened this past weekend. This is why we haven't heard anything about New Japan people except Zack Sabre Jr., who it was randomly announced is going to be wrestling Kenny Omega. There's been nothing else mentioned about New Japan because I think they wanted to get this Dominion show done. So they had the IWGP Championship changed hands, and I think 5 titles changed hands on that show. So I would expect starting tomorrow, we'll probably get some New Japan influence, or we'll find out like who the New Japan talents are going to be on the show. But every year, it's almost like a last-minute thing where they throw a bunch of matches together as a way to justify doing this Forbidden Door show. And look, it may still do good business, pay-per-view buys and all that. I'm not saying that the sickos and the ones who are like hardcore fans aren't into it, but to me, it's pointless. Like, it doesn't need to be a standalone show anymore because it doesn't feel like a Forbidden Door. It's mostly AEW guys. But they call it Forbidden Door, so they drop a few, like a New Japan guy, CMLL guy, but it's not what it was 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, but who's big in New Japan now that it could be labeled as this must-see Forbidden Door promotional show with New Japan Pro Wrestling?
Well, that's the other issue. The issue is that New Japan is a lot weaker now than it was a few years ago. And so a lot of those big names are not around anymore, right? Tanahashi retired, Naito is gone, and then almost everybody else left to go to AEW. So Ospreay left, Ibushi left, Jay White left, Gabe Kidd left just this year, right? Gabe Kidd now is under contract to AEW.
Okada.
Okada. And I still feel like I'm missing a couple of others. So like they've lost a lot of those names.
David Finlay, Clark Connors.
Well, David Finlay and Gabe Kidd alone is from this year.
Yeah.
So that's another big.
We see Ishii on TV every other week.
Yeah, that's another big part of the problem. You know, they've lost a lot of those major names where it's like if you could put together some really big time matches, like holy shit, there's a big match to do, and have like a super card. Then okay, cool. That's like a great Forbidden Door card. We don't have that anymore.
Well, what do you make of this Starlight Kid versus Tekla? Tekla's done a decent job of selling this. I mean, you got to listen to the woman when she says "death to stardom" on television. So we know her history about being fired there. Is this a match that you're looking forward to? Because I know this came about last week too.
Yeah, I mean, look, this feels more like a Forbidden Door match. You know, she's got the history with Stardom. I was fired from Japan and all that. Starlight Kid is, I've seen some of her work, right? Really good wrestler. That's fine. Like, that's the sort of match that you would expect on a Forbidden Door card. Kenny Omega and Zack Sabre Jr., even though it kind of came out of nowhere, is the kind of match you would expect on a Forbidden Door card. But you get these matches where it just feels very thrown together. And then in the main event of Forbidden Door, you know, we get a fucking 12-man cage match with AEW guys. It's like, what are we doing here?
And then the other two co-main events are the finals of the Owen, which include AEW talent.
Yes. Well, I mean, hey, maybe Hazuki makes it all the way to the finals. You never know, right?
One could wish.
It's always possible, dude. You can get Maya World against Hazuki in the finals of the Owen Hart tournament.
One could wish. Yes, I 100% agree on the Forbidden Door concept. Apparently, they're selling less than what they did last year, significantly, according to Dave Meltzer of The Observer. I don't know what the percentage is year over year, but Tony Khan's got to rethink the concept. I don't think he's going to because he doesn't know any better, but you know, he actively took everything that New Japan had that was special and made it AEW and now expects the Forbidden Door to be the same way. Not going to work that way.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he likes the collaboration and saying that this event is, you know, all the logos are on the poster and everything, and he gets talent from different promotions. But again, we get that every week. It's like if you're going to do this sort of thing, you got to make it feel really special. And this pay-per-view will be like most AEW pay-per-views, where I have no doubt that the in-ring is going to be very good. There's going to be some really strong matches, but I don't have this level of excitement for this show, you know, that maybe I would have for Forbidden Door in its infancy, right? I feel very indifferent towards it.
As this is the worst season AEW has all year, easy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The least interesting.
Again, because there's nothing really being built.
No.
There's no real effort to truly build some of these matches. Again, they're just kind of thrown out there. I don't know if the answer is maybe from now on to focus more on CMLL as opposed to New Japan, because CMLL feels like they're a lot stronger on more solid footing maybe than New Japan is. But you still have the same issue. I mean, we see CMLL talents every week on these shows.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very weak season for AEW. And next week is going to be a big wrestling weekend. We got Forbidden Door, we got Night of Champions, we have Slammiversary. It's going to be all over. I've even contemplated covering NXT. I've even contemplated covering Slammiversary over Forbidden Door, honestly, just because of Red being on the show. I don't know. I hate this show, the way what it's been. I've been to a Forbidden Door. The one I went to with Jesse in Chicago was fucking great. I haven't felt that way in years about this concept. So, like you said, the wrestling's going to be great. I don't really care. Other than that, I'm a big story guy, and there's really nothing there that's interesting.
No, I mean, look, the Owen finals, if they shape up the way that I think both of us think they will, those are two big matches.
Yeah.
But they have nothing to do with Forbidden Door.
No.
Those are the two things I'm probably looking forward to the most on this show.
We got Andrade beating Orange Cassidy. That was another thing on the show. He took a picture with Leo Rush. Leo Rush wanted a selfie with Andrade. Apparently he wanted a picture.
It's fine. It's fine, JD.
I don't know, man. We got Leo Rush talking to himself every week now. Sky Blue lost to Maya World. Maya World was a late replacement here for Sari, and she advanced. She got a match out of it, and she won. And thoughts and prayers to her. She had a very, very, very difficult week, and Tony let her express herself to the world on Wednesday, and that was a very, very classy move by Tony Khan. So she advanced to the semifinal. Who is she wrestling? She's wrestling
Athena.
That's right.
On Collision. Yeah.
Okay, that's happening there. And then main event, we got Swerve and Brody King. You know how that ended up. Swerve is meeting Ospreay in the finals of the Owen. Good match here in the main event. I thought their match at Dynasty was better, but this was solid and easily the best thing on the show. But Swerve is meeting Ospreay in the finals, and I think they're going to go balls to the wall all out on Forbidden Door Sunday.
To me, that's the real main event of that show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that out of everything. On Dynamite, Jason mentioned the big 12-man tag, and Mercedes versus Hazuki is taking place. Other than that, I don't have a clue what's happening on Dynamite. So we will both be live for our respective reviews, and then we will be in Chicago for House of Glory. That's what really matters. Show's going to be great on Friday, Inferno.
So does that mean then that we are going to miss the final 3-hour SmackDown?
Yes, it's kind of poetic, but not at the same time, because I hate that they have this championship match taking place and we're not going to be here.
But last I heard, I believe June 26th was going to be. Now I think it's the first 2-hour SmackDown, not the last 3-hour one. Have we confirmed this?
It is the last 3. It is the last 3-hour SmackDown until January.
This week. Now I'm saying, is the 26th the first 2-hour or the last 3-hour?
I can't tell you. I thought I read it was the first 2-hour.
Well, I want to confirm this so I don't get my hopes up, and then I come to find out that I have an extra hour of SmackDown next week to deal with.
Well, hopefully it is going to work in our favor here, as Jason finds what SmackDown's going to be lengthwise for next week. That's not a good sign.
All right, so
we got two more 3-hour shows, huh?
Yeah, this is from June 1st. Per Meltzer.
Michael Krause says June 26th is the last 3-hour SmackDown.
Son of a bitch. All right. So we're not out of the woods just yet.
No.
Well, I mean, that makes sense because it was, so that means July 3rd. Well, that was last year. July 4th last year was the first 2-hour SmackDown. So.
Yes. That's going to be a recurring theme as long as they are on USA Network. So that is all we got for you. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight's TNT. We're going to get into your super chats and then wrap up and get the hell out of here. And we appreciate everybody. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. Would really like to see, what do we got? We got 770 likes. All right, let's try for 900. If we get 900 tonight, that would be really, really good for the both of us. Super chats are open. Get them on. It's the best way to support the show. Go follow Jason on Twitter and on YouTube. Everything you need for him is linked down below. T-shirts. You can find the link in the description, and I also pinned it at the top of the live stream, or the bottom of the live stream chat. So make sure you guys go check that out. And timestamps for all my timestamp fiends out there, those will be added immediately after the show publishes and is monetized on YouTube. So you guys can navigate where you want with the timestamps. But we appreciate everybody, and our watch time is still in the 50-minute range. So you guys are killing it.
So apparently the SmackDown next week is going to be taped. It'll be a taped 3-hour
Yes, they are actually in Atlantic City. They're doing a double taping because Raw is taking place that week at 6 p.m.
Well, no, I think next week is in London.
The week after that.
Right, but I'm saying next week. I think they're taping on the 23rd, SmackDown.
Oh, okay.
So I think the 26th, that last 3-hour show, is going to be taped.
Yeah, I think they're doing one from Atlantic City, too, at the convention center, and there's going to be a double taping there for the holiday.
Yeah, so I think after this week, the next 2 weeks of SmackDown may be taped.
Oh, boy. Okay. You know, WWE likes to add some piped-in crowd noise and over-embellish when things aren't really that exciting, so I can't wait to see that.
Tala Tonga is about to get the biggest pop of his entire career on SmackDown.
Oh, my God. Anyway, let's get into these super chats and wrap up here. Who's first? Hardcore Kevin with a $2 super chat. JD, Jason, TNT, best of the best. Can we get a UWU? What the fuck does that mean? UW Hardcore Kevin, you got to speak English, my friend. What the fuck does that mean? We appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Simply the Pope with a 50 months. Here's to another 50. What the fuck are you drinking? Right now, black coffee, and then a liquid death. But in Chicago, I already got a list of nice cocktail bars and coffee places to go visit. So that's what we'll be doing after House of Glory on Friday. A nice couple of whiskeys, and then off back to New York. Michael Krause with a 2. JD Jason OTS, all gas, no brakes with it. TNT, yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Yes. And then he also with a 30 months. I appreciate all that you both do each week, individually and here on TNT. There's no better place to be. TNT is all gas, no brakes with it. Thank you again. Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you, brother. Emperor Immortal Phoenix with a recommitment. I see that Mustang emoji next to your name, bro. Thank you. Michelle with a 2. Will the fans turn on Jey Uso if he wins King of the Ring? That's a good question. You think they'll turn on?
No, I don't think anything's going to change. I think the fans who are sick of it are going to boo, and I think the fans that love yeeting are going to cheer. I really don't think anything's going to change. I mean, I'm still like mystified by these Roman reactions, and like the fans just cheer this guy no matter what, no matter how much of a dick he is. They love to acknowledge him, and every week it's acknowledge me, acknowledge this, acknowledge that. He had LA Knight last night saying, "I acknowledge that you can kiss my ass."
Well, Roman switched. He switched the play, flipped the script. He acknowledged everybody in the ring, and nobody acknowledged him except for the fans.
I'm getting a little sick of all the acknowledging going on these shows.
You're not happy with the what do we call them now? The Death Line or the Blood Riders? What do we call them?
Is that what people are calling them?
I don't know. It's like
the blood. I like that. The Blood Riders. I've not heard that before.
I mean, I don't know if they're babyface or heel, man. Well, what the fuck are they? They act heel, and then everybody wants to cheer for them. I don't know. It's crazy.
I don't know.
Michelle, thank you. Steph, 497, 11 months. Thank you. Bossmo Jackson, the 199. Much love, OTS family. Hope all is well. JD and Solo, 2 thumbs up. Thank you, Bossmo Jackson.
Thank you.
NM with a 2. How good of a character was Evil Doink?
He's great.
Fucking loved Evil Doink.
Evil Doink and that Evil Doink theme before Dink came along was just pitch perfect, man.
Yeah, Doink is a legend. Black Wolf Inc. with 37 months. I worked the FIFA game today at MetLife Stadium and met an executive. I made sure to tell him to fix WWE Creative. We'll see how that ends up. You met a WWE executive, huh?
Yeah. No, did he say he met a MetLife executive?
He said he worked the FIFA game at MetLife and met an executive. I'm assuming he met an executive in WWE because he
would
told
hope
him to
so,
fix the
because
creative.
just based on the way you read that, it sounds like he met a MetLife executive and asked him to fix WWE Creative. And I could just imagine the MetLife executive looking at him like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I don't think that guy's going to be able to help you out. I assume he means a WWE executive. He didn't say which one though.
No, we got to get a name on that, brother. Who is that?
Was Bruce there?
Is he a soccer fan? I don't know.
Michael Hayes?
NM with a 5. At least once a week, I think about how TKO generationally fucked up the Randy Cody Mania feud. Yeah, which is why if it happens again at SummerSlam, I'm not going to be all that interested when it does. I'm over it. They ruined it, and I don't want to see it no more. Killswitch Red with a 5. Do we see Vince inducted into the Hall of Fame while alive? Hell yeah or no chance? Thanks as always.
I think this week we took a giant leap forward towards that happening.
Yeah, that was on the list of things to talk about, but we ran over, and I didn't want to spend another 20 minutes talking about an 82-year-old Vince McMahon. I made a video on it. Jason talked about it on the sound off. You guys can go listen to what we had to say. It's more of the same than what we've been talking about for the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, I think that him being back is going to result in him taking some sort of power back from Triple H. I hope that's not the case, but I hope that it's kept brief. Hall of Fame induction. Maybe they start showing his face and mentioning his name in vignettes and video packages, something like that. But to see him back taking any sort of power, you genuinely think that's going to happen?
Well, no, I'm saying, he mentioned the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So I think making like even a Hall of Fame appearance like a year ago was not going to happen. Not while he was alive, anyway.
No.
But I think the way things are unfolding, and as things sort of go private and behind closed doors, that it becomes more likely that they at least dip their toe in the water, whether it's an appearance or a mention or something, and a Hall of Fame induction becomes at least more more likely than it would have been 6 months ago.
You know what will be a good indication if we're going to be doomed or not? If Snickers and Dodge Ram and fucking Slim Jim have no problem, he'll be right back where he was. And that's going to be, that's going to be great content for us. The show's going to suck, but it's going to be great content for us. Thank you, NM, and thank you, Killswitch Red. Bossman Jackson with $4.99. I love NXT in-ring content, but the promos and acting is cringe at times. They always sound so rehearsed. NXT Black and Gold was the best. I miss those days. It's one of the reasons why I don't watch NXT personally. The promo work and the dialogue is awful. Ray Lyon with a $1.99. I have a good dark roast coffee. I don't like dark roast. I'm more of a medium roast guy. I think dark is when it starts tasting like mud and it starts tasting a little earthy. That's when I say no. Drew Gilmore with 46 months. What's up, OTS family? Tuesday is truly the best day. I'm back to work after a lower back injury. And first time in a while, I'm here to watch TNT live. Well, thank you for being here, brother.
Heal quickly.
What happened?
I said heal quickly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, nobody wants to have a lower back injury, man. That sucks. Sitting in this chair is not making my back feel good so many days a week. Tone VC, thank you, brother, for the 50 mini bomb. Thanks, guys, for all that you do. Here's some human monies. Thank you. We love the human monies. Arnold PJ with a $5 super chat. Have you guys ever accepted, or would you ever accept, the role of a security geek? Which situation brought you closer to getting your ass kicked?
I've already gotten my ass kicked. So have you.
Yeah. I don't want to be on the receiving end of that. I don't like it.
So you wouldn't be a security geek?
No, it depends for who. Like, if you're asking me to be a security geek for Brock Lesnar or Jacob Fatu, no. No.
So you wouldn't want to be thrown across the ring by Oba Femi?
No, I don't want to be his pizza toss is what we're calling it now. What do you call it?
What if you have to catch a dive?
That's innocent enough. That's innocent enough.
Depends who's diving, though.
Yeah. I mean, who dives in WWE? That's if it's a Seth Rollins dive, sure, I'll take that.
Everybody dives.
Who's got a vicious dive though? Like if it's a Samoa Joe. No, I'm not taking a Samoa Joe dive.
Brody King.
No. No way. No way. Thank you, Arnold. I appreciate you, brother. Sidro with a $5 super chat. Told my wife our neighbor died. She said, who? Ray? I said, it's way too early to celebrate like that. What generation? Who, Ray? What generation was Forrest Gump? Gen A.
I think he's used that one before.
Gen A.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Did you see the movie?
I have several times. I love Forrest Gump.
All right, you get the joke, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Foxboom134 with a $1.99. He knows.
He knows.
Oh yeah, he knows.
He knows, JD. He knows. It's fine.
You did that a little too good, man. I don't know.
It's fine.
We got to get, next time Leo Rush comes down to the we got to get Leo Rush, Blackheart Leo Rush, and Jason doing the he thing, the him thing.
We'll have a conversation together.
Yeah. Sidro with a $5 super chat. My bro quit his job as lawyer to be a dog breeder. He prefers boxers over briefs. And why did the orange stop in the middle of the road? It ran out of juice. You didn't get him there, bro. You didn't get him. Boss Mo Jackson with the $4.99. Which would you rather be? A manager, a ref, or a trainer? Also, I saw Scary Movie. Very funny. Not as good as the first, but it had its moments.
Manager.
Yeah, me too. I think I'd be a good manager.
Yeah.
A ref? Yeah, the referees don't get a lot of credit, man. That's a very difficult job to do.
Yeah, I don't want to have shoulder problems later in life.
No. Frank with a $5 super chat question, guys. Do you think Tessa will be going through a forbidden door? Just throwing it out there.
No.
Well, she does work for CMLL. Like you said before, I don't think Tony brings it to television. That's way out there for him. If he didn't bring Matt Riddle into the company, he's not going to bring Tessa Blanchard into the company. Ray Reezy with a $1.99. Thoughts on Maven's video on why he hates Triple H? I made it through 5 minutes and I shut it off.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
I don't care.
From what I understand, it was almost clickbait because I think in the video, from what I understand, he said he didn't hate Triple H. It was kind of a way to get people to click on it. And then he talks about his experiences with Triple H, but it's not that he hates him. But I'll give him credit. He knows how to get views.
Sure.
You know, because he's got a lot of views on his videos and subscribers on his channel because he knows how to kind of title things and how to draw people in, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, he actually hates Triple H.
No. Pablo Montoya with a $9.99. I'd be interested in a Sami Zayn last good guy WWE title reign standing alongside this bloodline to freshen the show. They all have history, plus it'll be a wild dynamic for a few weeks before Cody regains it. Again, bro, we talked about legitimately every possible scenario. Punk or Sammy filling in for that final spot if Oba gets taken out. I mean, I like it. I like it. M. Heaton with a $5 super chat. Just wanted to show my support for you guys and ask if you guys watch JCW. I watch JCW, NXT, AAA weekly, and I've given up elsewhere. I tune in from time to time. You know, it's genuinely not my cup of tea. It's all I will say is the production value for indie is very good. It's just the in-ring is just not what I want. I mean, there are 1,000 other indies doing better in-ring than JCW.
Maybe Tessa will end up in JCW.
Tessa?
Sure.
Why not? I'm sure Vince would love to have her, honestly. Thank you, brother. We got Ugly in the Morning with a $6.99. Punk looked huge in the video that those screenshots came from. If you saw the original vid, that's more than just a gym pump. He definitely looks different. I don't know, man. You know, there are natural ways to go about it, but I have to see it with my own eyes when he hits television. I'm not going to jump on conclusions to a grainy fucking video from an iPhone 5. Real Matt Joseph with the $4.99. They should scrap who they plan to be on Danhausen's table and reveal it at MSG Saturday night's main event and have it be Jalen Brunson. Let's go Knicks. Go New York. Go New York. Go.
What sense would that even make? It's got to make sense. He's been laying under there now for weeks and then escaping to play in these games and then slipping back under the tarp.
Yeah, really. Sidro with the $2 super chat. Where does wire wool come from? Sheep metal. Boo. Thumbs down on that one, Sidro.
Maybe it could be Tyrese Halliburton under the sheet since he's been out of commission.
Maybe. They love featuring him on the shows. Bossmo Jackson.
Big wrestling fan.
Yeah, he is. Bossmo Jackson with the 199 times 2. Greatest NBA player ever in your opinion, JD and Solo. Michael Jordan. For me, anyway. Yeah. I don't know what you think. Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Okay. Will Blake Monroe be successful on the main roster? I would hope so.
Yes.
She has everything that you could ask for. She's hot as hell. She's a great wrestler.
Very charismatic.
And she's got a great way to articulate what she says. I love the accent. Michelle with the $2 super chat. If we get Jey Cody, does Triple H put the title on Jey? No. Man, we're already cringing over the fact that Jay's in the SummerSlam main event. Now you want to put the title on him?
So now you want the Bloodline to run both shows.
I'm sure all your manual is going to be over the moon if that happens. Toy ain't nice with the $2 super chat. Why can't Oba do promos on both Brock and Roman?
He can do whatever he wants, but when you get to that Roman Oba match, you need to give that your full undivided attention and not split it between two different people.
100%. Sidro with the $2 super chat. What is Rhea with worrisome shitty booking? Diarrhea. I don't know why I found that funny. Freddie, thank you for
12.
Thank you for joining me here, Freddie. I appreciate you. Sidro with a $5 super chat. Sammy capturing the title should mean more, not a short reign. His first time getting it, it would devalue the title, like giving Sheamus one IC title at a B-level PLE.
I got news for you, brother. Sami Zayn, if he ever wins the world championship, he ain't going to hold that title for a year. I don't want to see him hold it for a year. So it depends on your definition of a short-term run. I think it should be more than 3 weeks. but realistically, he ain't holding that title for more than maybe a few months.
No.
At most.
Arabian Night with a $6.99 talking about TNA and talent leaving and WWE picking and choosing. Seems like AEW benefited more. They signed more TNA names going back to Alexander and Speedball, who I believe just came back at Maple Leaf Pro, right? Josh Alexander?
I believe so.
Don Callis' family may finally be at 100% if we just get Wardlow on TV. Aaron with 199. Maybe Sammy is Punk's SummerSlam feud. I said that earlier. It could be a possibility. Gangrene with a 5. I low-key wish Omos would come back so I can hear that impression again, JD. It was hilarious. I would prefer not to see Omos on my television. In AAA, he's innocent enough and he fits. Walker Stubbs with 199. Which WrestleMania is your favorite?
8.
WrestleMania 8 your favorite?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's not a bad one. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Honestly. I'm not a big fan of any one of them. Walker Stubbs with the 199. Thank you. Aaron with 499. I hope Roxanne losing isn't a sign of how creative sees her long term. Do you think that's the case? Also, what is Tatum Paxley's ceiling on the main roster? Roxanne losing, sign of creative, what they think of her? No, I think she's factored into big plans, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, she I think will do well. I don't know that, I can't say that they're going to make her women's world champion and give her an extended run or anything like that, but one loss, I would not be judging it by one loss. The bigger issue, and I pointed this out last night on my review, is that she has not won a singles match on television since December. So this whole Judgment Day thing ain't working out too well for her. So the quicker she plots against Liv Morgan and kind of breaks away on her own, she might be better off for doing so because she's had a rough go of it this year.
And Tatum Paxley ceiling on the main roster, I don't know. You know, the dark characters like that don't really have a long shelf life.
Yeah, but she's got a following. She's got a real following down there.
Yeah.
So I think on the main roster, I could see her. She reminds me a lot of ways of Daphne.
Yeah.
I could see her having a pretty strong, or even Paige. I could see her having a pretty strong following and doing pretty well.
I know she's good friends with Lyra, so maybe they kind of integrate her with Lyra and they pick up there. We'll see. Cody Snyder with a 5. Jason, today is my 36th birthday. JD already got me on last night's stream after midnight. Can I get a birthday shout out from the other half of TNT?
Happy birthday, brother. 36 is a good age. Enjoy it, because before long you'll be 37 and then you'll be 38 and then you'll be looking at your 40s.
Yes. You don't want to be in your 40s.
Cherish
it, man. Cherish it, man. Hold on to it as long as you can. Ugly in the Morning with a $6.99. Eric Andre is a huge Mr. Bungle fan. Good enough for me. Bro, I never listened to a single song of Mr. Bungle. Never. Arabian Night with a $6.99. So you'll want to see Roman versus Seth and Punk versus Cody at SummerSlam. It's cool. But the same 3-4 older guys in both big main events year after year. No trust in the youth. Well, that's what happens when you got a 2-night SummerSlam to sell out.
Yeah, I'm not enamored with Roman and Seth. I just think that that's likely going to be what the title match is on the Raw side.
Yeah,
if it were up to me, like if I had the magic pen or whatever and blew everything up, Roman and Seth would not be my main event. I don't know offhand in a perfect world what it would be, but I can tell you it wouldn't be Roman and Seth. I'm just telling you that I think it is the most likely Raw main event that we get at SummerSlam.
Better off to do it now than at WrestleMania next year. I would have been okay with that if the plans stick to the original plans and we got Cody and Punk at Mania this year. It's supposed to be Seth and Roman, reportedly. But I think SummerSlam's the way to do it. Blow it off and just get it over with, Bossmo Jax with a 999. People think LA Knight sucks in ring because his moveset mirrors that of the 90s style. He's not technical, powerful, or flashy, and people are being difficult. He has an old school style. Overall, the fans like him. I see nothing personally wrong with LA Knight's moveset at all.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means. Like a 90s moveset? What does that mean? He does a double jump to the top rope and a leaping elbow.
He does a modified burning hammer.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
If a WWE style burning hammer. It's not really a burning.
I don't
hammer.
watch it. Yeah, well, I don't watch him in the ring and think, man, that's so 90s. Like, I don't know where that. I don't know where that's coming from.
And maybe he reminds you of the '90s, the way he speaks and the way he carries himself, and the sunglasses and the vest. But
Wow, there's definitely. I mean, the Austin and Rock influence is just.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear it and see it every single week. So maybe that's what he's referring to. Like I said this last night when he dropped that line where he said, "I acknowledge that you can kiss my ass," dude. I heard Austin.
yeah, I can see it.
Like, I literally heard Austin the night that he told Vince McMahon to kiss his ass and then gave him a Stone Cold Stunner. Just in terms of like his voice, his delivery, like the influence. He may not even realize it, but the influence is clearly there. So that I can understand. If you hear, like, if it reminds you of Austin in the 90s, I get it. But his in-ring style, I don't see the 90s comparison.
Chrono with a $5 super chat. Could either of you do Rock's eyebrow raise or Taker's eye rolls in the back of his head? If you could ask Danhausen to uncurse one thing for you, what would it be? Cheers. Can you do the eyebrow? Yeah, Jason could do. I can't do that, and I can't do the Taker eye rolls either. If you could ask Danhausen to uncurse one thing, what would it be?
SmackDown.
That's a good one. I agree.
Please uncurse SmackDown.
That's all you need to know. Baltimore Jackson with the 199. Do you guys watch LFG? No. I watched season 1. I haven't watched again.
I will. I mean, for the people who do watch it, is Kevin Owens, I know, was a new addition to the most recent season. So was the show better with him on there? I'd be curious to know, but I just, there's only so many hours in a week of wrestling that I could fit in. I have people asking me all the time, like, how come you don't watch JCW and you don't watch Impact every week and you don't watch Collision? I'm like there's only so many hours in a day.
Do you realize what we have to watch on Friday, and you want me to watch more?
And yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into what we do, and I got my weekend show and the Uncrowned show, and I do like to squeeze in some other things here and there. So, like, I can't watch it all. I'm sorry, guys. I just can't.
Don Fanucci with a 46 months. Hey, JD, Solomonster, I got a quick question for you both. How you know?
How you know? How you know?
How you know? I don't know. I don't know anything. TNT for life. Thank you, Don Fanucci. Mark Carpenter. I lost you here. There you are. $5 super chat. Where did they bury Joe Hendry? He was not, or he has not appeared anywhere lately. Well, they didn't say his name. You know, they didn't say his name and he disappeared. Exactly what happened. CMJ World with $5 super chat. What if Roman makes Jey give up his SummerSlam spot to Jacob as a curveball, further increasing the tension between Jey and Jacob? Well, you guys are really going out there now, huh? Jesus. I don't mind if Jey is there as long as what we talked about plays out. That would be fine by me. But if he wins the King of the Ring and gets the title match, I mean, we may be seeing rants on both ends here. Gangrene David with a 5. Who would you rather see at WrestleMania? Danhausen versus Doink or an Eva Marie match? Oh, Doink. Evil Doink versus Danhausen. That'd be entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, you could dig him up right now. I'd still rather watch that.
Yeah. Furious Nation with a 56 months. Thank you, bro. What's up, JD Solo? Banger TNT to the best in the game. Appreciate everything you guys do. Next month is 10 years since I've been an OTS fan. Thank you, Furious Nation.
Very cool.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. You're here every night. We love it. Ken with a $9.99. Will Rock debut as Maui at SummerSlam and challenge Roman Reigns to set up Akuma versus Maui in a Golden Globe on a pole match at WrestleMania?
See, This is how you could tell, like, people are just so bored with the WWE product right now that they're going all out. They're like, fuck it. We're just gonna get as whacked out as we possibly can.
Look at this. JD from the White House fight 206. Oh my goodness. $5 super chat. Fought Dax at UFC White House event and now just partying in my mother's UFC design basement. What would everybody think is me? JD is president.
See, it was a missed opportunity there for it to be JD from the White House 250 instead of 206. You missed it.
Oh my God. I wanted nothing to do with that White House event, man. I stayed off social media all night. I didn't care what happened. All I heard was that there was going to be a rain delay and mosquitoes and fucking thunder and lightning, and Dana White was petrified because that's one of his biggest fears running an event, having it rained out. Don Stoney with a $5 super chat. Shout out to Don Tony Wrestling, Super Spitball Media, and as always, R.I.P. Kevin Castle. Thank you, Don. We love you, brother. And we love the DT family. NM with a $5 super chat. JD, I currently drink Cafe Bustelo. What off-the-shelf brand coffee would you recommend if you had to? NM, none of them. I am as bougie as they come. I subscribe to Trade Coffee for my coffee subscription service. I will never buy anything off the store shelves unless it's some obscure brand that tastes and sounds interesting. Do not drink Folgers or Maxwell House. They have plastic particles in the coffee. Do not do that. It's not coffee. I don't even think it's coffee at that point. Genuinely. Cafe Bustelo's all right.
See, but I always thought the best part of waking up
is plastic
is
in your
Folgers.
cup.
Is plastic in your cup. Yeah.
Oh my God. Please don't. Please, guys, just if you want to do something like that and engage in a hobby like that, you gotta buy quality stuff. You can't go and drink that stuff, man. And I know it's not for everybody, but yeah, I can't see myself doing that. Hamp with a $9.99. We're looking for two guys to go with us on a helicopter ride to a yacht. So if either of you know anyone, let me know. Has to be someone with a yacht and a helicopter, or else we're not going. You had me for a second there. I'm like, you got two guys right here. But then again, I probably will never get in a helicopter. Not for me.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, Oliver Tree passed away this week.
I saw that.
In a helicopter crash.
I saw that. Yeah, helicopter rides, no mas over here. Planes are bad enough. Helicopter, no thank you. Boots with a $10 super chat. Reigns championship title arrives at work before Roman. Why hasn't anyone in the locker room tried to steal it? The Bloodline shows up to the arena and we see Lord Mark being stretchered out. Lord Mark. I got to get this guy's name, man. Lord Mark.
Lord Mark.
All right, well, we'll see. We got to figure out what this guy's role is now. Apparently, he's done every week thing. Thank you, Boots. We appreciate you. Clone Force with a $9.99. A dog that got killed by a cop this Saturday, and a neighbor called the cops on the owner of the dog due to noise complaints, but owner was yelling because of Knicks game since she's a Knicks fan. So sad. I didn't hear anything about that. I'm sorry to hear that.
I didn't either.
That's not good. I didn't know that, Clone Force. Very sad. I know the city was a fucking disaster over the weekend, and will continue to be with the World Cup. Furious Nation with a $4.99 with Tessa.
Apparently Messi was doing messy things in this game tonight.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. People were going nuts about it.
Oh, boy. Furious Nation with a $4.99 with Tessa gone from TNA. I don't think she would cause issues in WWE due to WWE and Triple H having real leadership, unlike AEW and TNA. Thoughts?
It's not a matter of her causing issues or speaking out of turn. It's just, again, the baggage that she brings and the reaction of other people who work there. And potentially, some of the crowd reactions. That stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff doesn't go away.
Can't have that happen on their shows, but they're usually quick with the button, and they could filter that out. But I mean, that's just going to be an every week thing. So, Furious Nation with a $4.99. Sami Zayn being like that underdog reminds me a lot of Bryan Danielson. I agree 100%, JD, that Sami should be WWE champion at Night of Champions. Let's get there first, bro. I like what we talked about. Sami maybe being the final in the King of the Ring. If there's no triple threat. I like that. Giving him a couple months as world champion with the title, I'm all for it. Baltimore Jackson 499. Would you guys be interested in a huge Jalen Brunson match or a segment on WWE TV? And have you guys ever tried mushroom coffee? Brunson wrestling? You down for that?
No. I mean, a big segment is fine. Him wrestling. If I'm the Knicks, I don't want him wrestling.
No, not at all. I've tried mushroom coffee. It depends on the brand. Some are good, some are not. The one that I tried was Everyday Dose. Very good. I usually mix it with oat milk. Good to go. Over ice. Furious Nation with a 199 Killer Cross putting over ACW. I love it. And he's doing his thing, man. Happy to see Cross happy. And then we'll end with this. Pablo Montoya with a 499. How about Oba winning King of the Ring and winning the title on night 1, then call out Brock for title versus career night 2, and then close it there? We did kind of somewhat talk about that, but like you said, I think you put it perfectly, Jason. If you're going to do both, it's going to take away from the Roman match, which is clearly the bigger match and the one that you want to focus on, right?
Yeah, you're not gonna open on night 1. I mean, open like at the beginning of the show, but you're not gonna do night 1 as the title match and then have the Brock match. I get it's Minneapolis, but you're not gonna have Roman play second fiddle here on night 1.
No,
like they're just not gonna do that unless you have the other title match on night 2 in the main event. I think the order there just doesn't work. It's just it's too convoluted unnecessarily. I just don't think you need to do it that way.
Yeah. That is all we got for you guys. Appreciate everyone that showed up to hang out with us tonight. We had roughly from my end 2,400 people in here on a Tuesday night, man. So thank you guys very much. We are 40 likes away from 900. If you guys can hit that, we would love to see 900 likes before we get out of here. Thank you for the super chat, love. We will be back with you on Wednesday for our respective Dynamite reviews, and hopefully we will see some of you in Chicago on Friday for HOG House of Glory Inferno at Logan Square Auditorium in Chicago. You can watch us on Trilla TV Plus if you're not going to be in the building with us. And I will leave it to this guy right here to sound us off for another great week here on TNT.
Yeah, I'm actually seeing the new Toy Story movie on Thursday.
Nice.
And looking forward to that. Apparently it came out today with the first rating, I guess, on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, the lowest rating of all 5 movies as far as like when it initially comes out, still 92%. 92% fresh, and that's the lowest. So if you have a movie franchise where you're on the 5th movie and 92% positive is like the worst score it's ever gotten, I think that speaks pretty highly to the movie franchise, don't you?
I think so. Is Tom Hanks and Tim Allen still voicing both characters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Although from what I understand, the kind of the main character this time more so is the girl.
Okay.
Forgot her name. The Woody's
Yeah.
cowgirl, whatever. Not the position. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it because I saw all 4 movies prior to this. I remember going into 4 thinking, I don't know, do we really need a 4th one? And then I watched it and I loved it. Dude, there were people literally, like, tons of people in the theater when I saw the 4th one that were crying by the end of this movie.
Oh, my God.
So it's just the Toy Story movies, man. They could do them as long as they have a good story for them, because there have been large gaps in between all of them. It's not like they kind of crank them out one right after the other. There's like a gap of 11 years and 7 years, and apparently the story they have here is really good. It's getting great reviews, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure it's going to be a hell of a lot better than Disclosure Day.
Oh, God, I heard that was bad. Was it really that bad?
Great. It was not like the worst movie of the... Well, I mean, it was not the worst movie I've ever seen or anything like that, but for a movie that people were saying, oh, this is Spielberg's best in 20 years, I'm like, well, if that's the case, then the magic is gone. Because I certainly didn't feel that way coming out of it. I would not recommend it.
Well, I haven't seen it. I was interested because I'm always into the conspiracy of aliens and that type of thing, but I guess another one I'll wait for. But Toy Story, I'm interested in seeing. I may actually go see that myself.
Yeah, I mean, there's never been a bad Toy Story movie.
Oh, yeah, it's something that's nostalgic and reminds us of our childhood, so I'm all over that. Thank you very much, guys, for all of your support. We will be back with you on Tuesday next week. More of the same, 8:30 Eastern, right here for episode 152. Again, follow Jason on social media, on YouTube. Links are down below. We'll be live on our channels for Dynamite, and then hopefully we will see some of you in Chicago. If not, Trilla TV Plus, HOG Inferno. We'll see you guys there, and we'll see you next week.